Welcome to Table Talk, the place for deep conversations in the Geekverse. And trust me, when we tear into a subject, we go deep. I'm Heath, and I'll be your host. Each episode, I'll be talking with one or more creators, authors, illustrators, publishers, or other movers and shakers in games, TV, books, movies, or other areas of the Geekverse. Regular guests include Douglas A. Burton, the author of Faraway Bird, a multi-award-winning historical fiction novel of the Byzantine Empress Theodora. He's also the author of The Heroine's Labyrinth, an alternative story structure to the hero's journey that often occurs in stories with feminine heroes. That structural framework frequently comes up in our analysis of story. Brianna De Silva, she's the director and co-writer of The Cultists, a Lovecraftian comedy mockumentary-style web show here on YouTube. And the author of The City of Reckoning, an epic fantasy novel of political intrigue, the ethics of war, and young love. Cameron Pasha is a screenwriter, director, novelist, and was a writer and producer on the series Kings, a producer on NBC's Bionic Woman, and a co-producer and writer for Sleeper Cell. He's also written for the CW series Nikita and Roswell, New Mexico. He's been breaking news from inside Lucasfilm, Disney, and Hollywood. His analysis and commentary have become very popular on YouTube. We regularly meet to discuss and analyze stories, and when we do, we dive into graduate-level seminars on story structure and writing. Come on in and let's go deep. And when I say we're going deep, I mean you'd better bring your hard suit. Other guests have included Lou Anders, the author of the Thrones and Bones fantasy novels Once Upon a Unicorn, the creator and publisher of the Norengard RPG, and the author of Star Wars: A Pirate's Price, the book that explains why the Millennium Falcon is on the planet Batu at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Mark Tassin, the creator of the world of Cultists, head of Mechanical Muse, former director of the Gen Con Writers Symposium, and the head developer of the new Cool Name RPG. Let's see, who else?
Bond. James Bond.
Well, not James Bond. Not yet. Maybe soon, though. But I have interviewed Jamie Stegmaier, the founder of Stonemaier Games, crowdfunder extraordinaire, and publisher of many hit board games like Scythe and Wingspan. Brian Colin, sculptor of the world of Revelo Monster Busts, and the creator of the vast, grim, dark horror RPG. Ajit George, the Dungeons & Dragons author. We talked about game writing, education, and his contribution to Van Richter's Guide to Ravenloft, and the development of the Journeys to the Radiant Citadel.
I am Hela, Odin's firstborn, the commander of the legions of Asgard, the rightful heir to the throne, and the goddess of death.
Well, actually, that interview got rather spicy, so I think I'd better just keep that one to myself. Kate Wilson, a YouTuber, actress, host, and prolific geek guru who's now working to make a new show dedicated to the world of tabletop gaming a reality. So buckle up and get ready for a wild ride, because it's time to explore the worlds of tabletop gaming, sci-fi, fantasy, and all of geekdom through the eyes of those who are making things happen.
Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed.
Roger, ready to move out.
It's time for Table Talk. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. I hope you are doing well. Welcome to the office. Welcome to my home. Welcome to a very special Halloween edition of Table Talk, which is actually being simultaneously broadcast in lots of different places this evening, including 3 different YouTube channels, which I'm going to talk about here in a moment. I am happy to have everyone here. I hope that you're out or have had a fantastic time this Halloween, and you've been out for a party or might be going out for a party later. I realize we've got different time zones. Brianna is hosting a party at her house. Doug is obviously with his kids doing Halloween, so that just leaves me here. So I thought, hey, this is going to be a special solo edition of Table Talk. This might be the very first time I've ever done Table Talk as a solo broadcast. But that's all right, because what I wanted to do, I want to make a Halloween tradition here, watching The Cultists. And The Cultists is, of course, my show that I created. I'm the creator, producer, and co-writer. Brianna is the other co-writer, and she also directed it. That is a story about a modern-day Lovecraftian cultists who just want to worship Cthulhu in a world full of people who don't understand. And every Halloween, I think it would be great around here in the Geekverse if we had a tradition of watching it. And yes, since it's my show and I actually own the show, it's a watch party, which means we're actually going to be able to put the put the show up on the screen, which is unusual. You know, most of the time when you do these YouTube watch parties, you got to like sync the show or something and watch it on Netflix while something else. No, it's going to be right here while we watch it. And I'm also happy to provide commentary. This is the season 1 we're going to be going through, and it's got episode breaks. It's 10 episodes. Each episode is about 6 minutes, so the whole season is about an hour long. So if you've got questions or anything like that, you can put that in the chat, and then I can answer questions and talk about everything going on, and answer questions about the production or the show or whatever else you want to talk about as we just sit here and have a wonderful Halloween evening. So, hey, James, welcome. Yes, Halloween. Hello, happy Halloween. Hey, Jason, good evening. Good evening. It's great to see everybody here. We've got Sherry. Hello, hello. Good to see you. Zero the Blade is here. Oh, reporting in on... I thought you were going to say we saw the cutest cultist infant costume, but it was the infant as a Triceratops. Winner for the evening. My brother sent me a picture of my nephew, and he's in a Harry Potter robe and he's got the Harry Potter glasses on. But he looks he's got the Gryffindor patch, and I obviously knew what it was. But he sent me the picture of the kid in the robe. I was like, oh, he dressed as a cultist, but not really. It was Harry Potter. Hello, Robert. Hey, how are you doing? Good evening. And Brett, excuse me. Brett is here. Brett Hamilton. Sorry about that. Brett is here. Good evening. Yes, we are all here. Hello, TSL Frontman. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, so let me just tell you what I've got over here. So like I said, we're going out on several different channels because there's a lot going on right now. There is a new channel dedicated just to the cultists. You know, I've been trying to, over the past about 2 months, maybe 3 months now, 2.5 months to 3 months, get more serious about branding with all the different shows that are going on, to making sure that if it's a unique kind of brand that's on its own YouTube channel, so that if people find it, they can just, narrow in on what they want. Of course, there are a lot of us here that are like on the Discord server. Oh, we need a Discord server link. A link on the Discord server where you can kind of keep track of everything that's going on. And I try to post all of the YouTube videos across all the different links to all the upcoming live streams and stuff. So that if you want to know about everything, well, then that's the place. I'll put the Discord server link right here. The Ravenkeep Discord server going into the chat. I think it is also in the description, but it just went into the chat right there. But otherwise, over here, this is the Cultists channel. We are completely re-releasing the Cultists YouTube channel. So if you were interested in the Cultists, please come over here and subscribe. Brianna and I have been hard at work redoing all of the graphics. I've gotten comments like, wait, what happened to what happened to the Cultists? I love that show. That's because it was on my personal YouTube channel, and we're completely relaunching the show. We're completely relaunching the show on this channel right here, which is the Cultists. And right now, well, of course, this live stream is on it, but also the first 3 episodes of season 1 are already up there on the channel for you to watch later. Well, it would be nice if you watched. I'm broadcasting this here to that channel. Let's right here. So that's, if you want to go straight to the stream on the Cultists, that would be great. The new channels do need watch hours. So we can do super chats on my channel, Heath's Geekverse. We're there. So that would enable super chats. So if you feel so inclined, super chats can be taken on the Heath's Geekverse channel, but the Cultists and the Table Talk are not yet monetized. Over here on Table Talk, this is where we stream every Tuesdays, and I'm starting Thursdays as well. So the Table Talk YouTube channel, which is generally, this is a Table Talk episode being cross-streamed, but ordinarily, deep conversations in the Geekverse. If you like the deep conversations, and we do go deep into movies, storytelling, board games, those kinds of things, that channel is right here. I just dropped that into the chat. That's where we are all the time. And we do like 5-hour studies of 5-hour-long studies of different shows like Star Trek VI. We just posted today a video on what does Islam say about D&D, and also conservative Christian opinions on things like Middle Earth and orcs. That was with Cameron Prasha, so you can see that down here. I've been putting out clips on that channel as well. And then most people know me through the Heath's Geekverse channel, but just in case, Heath's Geekverse, I'm live there every morning for the morning grind where we talk about topics in the Geekverse. So if you are new here and you found us maybe through Table Talk or through the Cultists, Heath's Geekverse is where the morning grind airs every morning. So, whew, I mean, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. Oh, is there a problem over there? Maybe it's a YouTube thing. I don't think it's anything on me, but we will see. I mean, watch wherever. So on 3 of those, I will disable this. This stream on the Heath's Geekverse channel. So its permanent home will be over on Table Talk and probably the Cultists as well. All right. So that's that side of things. Everybody got their favorite drink this morning? Wait, this is not this morning. I went into morning grind mode this evening. My book, I got 24 hours left on Goodnight Sword. If you have children in your life who are about the right age for Goodnight Moon, my take on Goodnight Moon is called Goodnight Sword. This is my medieval fantasy take on Goodnight Sword. On Goodnight Moon, called Goodnight Sword, the very first book published in my world, The Tales of Rabavania. And it is on Indiegogo right now. It will end in 24 hours. Goodnight Sword on Indiegogo. It will end in 24 hours. So if you would like a hardback copy, you need to place a pledge on Indiegogo, like right now. Just went into the chat comments. And then I'm going to ship these things out, have them ordered, printed, shipped out like right after the Indiegogo ends. So it will be around before Christmas. So it will be in your hands if you want to give one as a Christmas gift to a child. If they're the right age of Goodnight Sword for Goodnight Moon, but you like fantasy, hey, Goodnight Sword's the place to be. And then also, right after Goodnight Sword finishes, maybe in about 10 days or 14 days, I got official clearance to launch the Trial of St. Gabriel on Kickstarter. This is my Christmas story, my dark short story on the Christmas massacre in Bethlehem. And I got clearance for that. So we are basically ready for launch. So right after the children's story, which is Goodnight Sword, this is an adult story. This is adult fiction right here. The Trial of St. Gabriel. Right here on Kickstarter. Please come over to that if you are interested. We'll also do some previews on the morning grind of that. I'll talk more about it. Come over to that, click that, and please do click the notify me on launch button. That would be huge. So lots of stuff going on. We're doing lots of stuff here. This part of the Geekverse, this is where we don't just sit around and complain about things. We actually make stuff. So that's what we're doing here. So I believe that's all the announcements that I have for this evening, but that's a lot. That's a lot going on. I'm really excited about a lot of things getting underway. But man, all I do is sit here at the computer chair and work on these things. All right. So, Jason's over on the new Cultist channel, so people are finding their way over there. Hey, Phaser Wrist, how much did I miss? Nope, nothing that had to do with the Cultists. We've been going over the new YouTube channels where everybody can find everything, the projects. Good to see you this Halloween. Hope you're having a fantastic Halloween. It was almost in the middle of it, almost forgot. I'm glad you're here. Good to see you. Yes, right. And please do click at the link, even if you aren't interested. It's free. And doesn't mean you need to pledge to fund the project or anything like that. That's right. When you press notify me on launch, you're not being notified. You're not being required to back it or anything like that. But you will be notified on launch. You can check out the page as soon as it is available. If you're interested, if you even think you might be interested, notify me on launch and then you'll know. All righty. All righty. Am I missing anything? I don't think so. I think that's it. You can tell me if I am. All right. So the Cultists, as just a little bit of background here, I guess, I had been involved in creating a very serious, I'll take that down for the moment, a very serious Lovecraftian world called Journey to the Tree of Sorrows with David LaRocca when I was part of Infinite Black. I was the co-founder of Infinite Black, and we were trying to develop 2 worlds. Theophany, which is a story of warrior angel, world of warrior angels, of which the Trial of St. Gabriel is not technically a part, but it is definitely Theophany adjacent. That was the world's name, Theophany. And then David's world was Journey to the Tree of Sorrows. And I wrote some stories in that, some very serious Cthulhu stories. And I also wrote some role-playing books, which have never been published. They're over there with David, but they've never been published. So we were very serious into creating serious Cthulhu kinds of stuff. But, as it happens, when you are writing serious stuff, you do have jokes come to mind. And so I just started keeping a notebook of all the different jokes that came to my mind and spoofs of the serious stuff that we were watching. So, or creating. And so eventually I had this rather large notebook of different ideas. And one day I just sat down at a bar and I said, what if I just started trying to type this up into a script? And so it's kind of self-parody. It was self-parody of the Journey 3 of Sorrows. And maybe one day I'll start doing some more serious Cthulhu stuff too later. I got plenty of stuff to go with the Unspeakable Cults world. So it's kind of a self-parody here. And we wanted to figure out how to create film and how to create short film, or I did especially. And so I said, hey, this might be a good thing to do because it doesn't require CGI for fantasy or science fiction monsters and castles and all of that. Doesn't require all of that. It's just modern day stuff, light costuming. It's supposed to look kind of wacky, or it is supposed to look wacky. So if it's kind of janky, then that adds to it as far as the costuming goes and all the props that are going to be built. So it was a great practice run for going all the way through a scripted show. So this is actually this first season here is the first scripted show that we'd ever done. We had done Dinner and a Board Game. We'd done the first season of Dinner and a Board Game, but then we got the crew together to do the Cultists. And it was one of the greatest experiences of my life. I do love being on a film set. I love making stuff. We've been doing a lot of other digital kind of filmmaking and talking about that on the Morning Grind, because everything seems to move to the computer. But I like the physicality of this. And even if it's a bygone era in a few years when you actually physically make films, I will have been glad that I have done the Cultist season 1 and season 2. And hopefully it would be nice. I suppose this coming spring would be our last chance at ever doing a season 3. So we have to generate enough interest in it to make it happen. But the Cultists making that was one of my favorite experiences in my life. Learned so much about making the Cultist, about making a film, and hanging out with everybody. So much of my family was involved in this, family and friends. And it was incredible. So James says, film sets are so much fun. A lot of hard work, but so much fun. I wouldn't trade my experiences on set for anything. That's how I felt. At the end of the days of shooting, sometimes Brianna and I, maybe it was the last day that I took her out to dinner after that, after the last day. And I was like, it would be so easy to become a film hippie. I can completely understand the independent film hippie kind of way of life. Can completely understand that after doing that. Because there were people involved who kind of did that. They were always doing like independent film projects and were kind of on the independent film circuit. I completely understand why. All right, so let's fire this up. I'm going to put it up on screen. I'm going to be here with you. If you've got questions, you got comments, or you want me to talk about things, I will stop it after every episode to respond. And like I said, each episode is about 6 minutes long. So, all right, here we go. Welcome to the Cultists Season 1. Oh, hey, Steel Mongoose. Good to see you. Good to see you. Why are we not playing? Sometimes I have to take it down and put it back. Hang on. There we go.
Life around the house has been difficult lately. Our son, Mike, has gotten involved in some things. And there have been a lot of questions about exactly what God he worships. It's causing a lot of tension in the family. For his birthday, I wanted to do something special for him, to connect with him. And so I made him this birthday cake. But apparently it was all wrong. Happy birthday!
Mom, I don't worship Father Dagon. Dave and Rob worship Dagon. I worship Yog-Sothoth. No one gets me. No one listens to me. No one. If they did, they would know that I don't worship Dagon. Sure, I've been over to Rob's house while he's performing some of Dagon's rites. Helped out a bit. Never hurts. But I worship Yog-Sothoth.
You see, it seems like which god he worships changes every month. It is all very confusing. I am concerned about Mike's future. We've sacrificed a lot for him.
Ha! Sacrifice? You don't know the first thing about sacrifices, Mom. I'm the only one who sacrificed anything around here.
We just want what's best for you, honey.
If you really cared about my future, then you'd let me sacrifice my little sister.
No, honey!
You have no concept of the blessings that the elder gods bestow upon me and this house.
You could become a doctor or a lawyer.
No, Mom! I'm not going to college. My researches are too important. And if you just let me dig up Grandpa...
I better not see you and your shovel within 100 feet of your grandfather's grave. Wouldn't you rather go to a football game with your friends instead?
None of my friends are going to the football game, Mom. The elder gods do not concern themselves with pigskin. Besides, I gotta save money.
What for?
You know what for, Mom? I've been talking about it forever. My plane ticket to Transylvania, there's this baron over there that I really want to study with. It'll be so much better than college. I vigorously pursue knowledge. See, my mind is a vessel. One day I will meet with Yog-Sothoth and join with him. And when I do, I'll give him my brain and all the knowledge that it contains.
If you are so big on accumulating knowledge, you could start by doing your algebra homework.
No, Mom. That won't help. Yog-Sothoth already knows algebra. I've learned something better than that.
If he knows algebra so well, why is he letting his top disciple fail algebra? Again. Can you explain that?
It's been rough lately. I mean, I've been a cultist of Yog-Sothoth for a while now, but I got to thinking maybe Mom's right. I mean, I give so much to Yog-Sothoth, and what has he done for me lately? I mean, I perform his rituals, I read his rites. Hell, I even sacrificed that Care Bear. And I still failed the hell out of that math test. God. But when I was walking home, there it was. It was foggy, and I got to thinking, foggy, fog, mist! Someone or something is calling out for me. The nameless mist. I caught some in a jar so that it can stay with me forever. Now I'm all about some nameless mist.
I just want him to be normal. I want him to have normal friends. I'm worried about his future. I thought maybe if he gets a job, that'll be good for him. Meet new people, discover new interests. But
I had a job. I started Cultist Lawn Care. No one would hire me. No one wanted me working in their lawn in my robe. I have to wear it. I'm in a cult. It's freedom of religion. I'm being oppressed. I'm filing a lawsuit.
What is this? Did you do this?
I thought it was a nice name.
This is not a joke. You can't name the nameless mist. time for sacrifice has come.
Mom! Mommy's trying to sacrifice me again!
Mike! Stay away from your sister!
It's a sign. Yog-Sothoth, please, I'm sorry for abandoning you. Please take me back.
I thought it was just a phase. You went through an anime phase, a ghost hunting phase, a coin trick phase. I thought it would be just like that. But I'm afraid this is my life now. And I am out of my depth. I am out of my depth.
So that was episode 1. I say, Steel Mongoose, I'm not sure if it's spookiness, but it's not spookiness, but hey, you do have some weirdness. So we got some weirdness coming your way. So tapering off some neuromeds, and my brain is just a train wreck. Bring on the weird stuff, where the weird stuff is coming here. And please do, whichever stream you're on, please do hit the like button to put the stream out to other people who may be subscribed, but YouTube isn't putting the stream out to them, because that's apparently is a thing that YouTube figures out, hey, do I actually send this out? So there may be people out there who would like to be a part of the stream tonight who are subscribed to the channel. Maybe they don't wish they had something to do on Halloween, and they could join us if they're sitting there. So please do hit the like button so that it will put it out to more of the subscribers and stuff, and maybe they can join us and have a better time here this evening. James says it's probably a bit early to mention this, but Mike's father's ho-hum attitude about occultism is hilarious. And yes, and we added, the father was one of the roles that was written in and then was cut. It was cut, and we were actually kind of thinking the same way with the sister at one point, because working with a minor is difficult on set. But we came up with a fantastic dad, and then we came up with a fantastic sister as well. And so we were like, well, we have to write it back in. So we're like, do we just remove those characters? And we've had so much fun with both of them. Yeah, I know, Jason. See, this is the kind of stuff that we had a bigger budget that we would like to be able to do, because people have said they want to actually see Mike and Rob and all the rest of the crew interacting more with actual mundane everyday life. We were actually going to have a scene where he had gotten a job at something like Best Buy. When he said, Mom says he wants to get a job, as the script was originally written, he had a job at like Best Buy and was frightening people. We wanted him to have like a, the Best Buy vest or the Walmart vest on over his robe and like scaring customers with that. But that was not really practical for us to do as far as our budget goes. And so it would also be really fun that if like somebody makes them go to, you're going to homecoming, you're going to enjoy your high school experience. You've got to go to homecoming. And so all the crew of the guys shows up and have to deal with homecoming. That would be hilarious. The all about some nameless, the nameless mist. Yeah, we were laughing about that for many reasons. But it also comes off as like a deodorant commercial. He's like, this is like a deodorant commercial. Peter Swanson, who plays Mike, was like, I feel like I'm like advertising that turn around, back around and go, now I'm all about some nameless mist. Yeah, if we had the Cultist coffee shop, it would be one of those things. Yes, she did such a fantastic job playing Bella. And she was such a delight to work with on set as well. She was always a pleasure to have her around. Hey, BGD. Hey, BGD. Oh, Steel Mongoose has already hit the like button coming in. Thank you. That's great. Help promote everything that's going on here. So yeah, that nameless mist, I was hiding in the other corner of the room on the other side of the bed with a fog machine. Some people have asked, what was the nameless mist? What did you actually put in that jar? And what was in that jar was fog from a fog machine. So I had a fog machine on the other side of the desk and other side of the bed. And in between every take, I had to refill that jar with fog because it would dissipate anytime we needed it. Like you got about one take, maybe two, and then the nameless mist jar had to be filled back up. And actually, that's one of one of Mike's most biggest accomplishments is how did he capture that fog in that jar? I mean, actually, he was able to do that. And of course, I did most of the props, like building his altar. I loved building his altar with the Care Bear that's been stabbed through with a steak knife. That was an early kind of vision for the show. And of course, he's got Christmas balls, Christmas tree balls hanging up above the altar. And it's the altar of Yog-Sothoth, and Yog-Sothoth is supposed to be associated with orbs. And so that's why those are hanging up above the altar. There was a scene that we didn't end up including, but those orbs, we did have a scene written, Brianna and I did, where he was going in and he was raiding his like grandmother's heirloom Christmas decorations. And so he was repurposing like the heirloom Christmas decorations of his grandmother or something to become the orbs of Yog-Sothoth hanging over the altar. That didn't actually make it in. Yes, orbs, eyes, gates, keys, yes. Hilarious. There are so many people on any given set that you just cannot see, right? And that was a very challenging place to shoot that room because it was so small. There was not a lot of room. I mean, you see even a scene like that when it's just Mike. Well, it's not just Mike in the room. It's Mike in the room, plus I'm having to hide someplace, plus Brianna is in the room as the director watching what's going on, plus Brennan is in the room as the director of photography. In that case, we didn't have an extra sound person, but later we could have an extra sound person in season 2, and that's a small room. And then if you want to have more than one actor in the room, like we did in the scene in season 2, it's crazy like that. Hey, Rayla. Well, come on. Good to see you. Welcome. Happy Halloween. Yep, you were just in time for season 2, for episode 2. Exactly. Yes. Hey, good evening, PH. Good evening. Great to send some greetings. Happy Halloween. Good to see you here. Thank you so much for dropping by. All right, let's go to season 2. Or episode 2.
Yog-Sothoth, Astermon, Antarte. Yog-Sothoth is the gate. Yog-Sothoth is the key. Yog-Sothoth is the guardian of the gate.
Dinner's ready.
Past, present, future. All are one in Yog-Sothoth. He knows when the old ones broke through of old, and he knows when they shall break through again.
Time for dinner.
Yog-Sothoth, Astermon, Antarte.
Hey, did you hear me? It is time for dinner.
Mom! I'm trying to commune with Yog-Sothoth here.
Yog-Sothoth's been trapped outside time and space for 10 millennia, son. He can wait until after dinner.
But I'll have to start over. And I've already used all my spell components.
You know better than to start these long and involved rituals right before dinner. Come on now. I don't really think too much about it. I know a lot of guys his age get involved with Yog-Sothoth and Cthulhu. Hell, I sure did.
Don't wear your hood at the table.
Where's Bella?
She is at a friend's house.
So she can skip dinner to be with her friend, but I can't skip dinner to be with Yog-Sothoth. Yog-Sothoth's my friend.
Let's ask the blessing.
Yog-Sothoth, Astermon,
Lord, thank you for this food. Please bless it to the nourishment of our bodies to thy service. Amen. Honey, where's the salt?
I used it in my ritual.
Your fish friend is here.
Rob here, of the Esoteric Order of Dagon. I've been a cultist ever since I was first able to speak the first oath of Dakin to the darkness beyond my crib. But I do want to clear up some confusion. There are a lot of people out there who think that I'm part fish. That is not true. Yet. Every morning I check the mirror to see if I'm developing any fish-like qualities. I hope I am. I've done extensive research into my ancestry, and I can't find out who my great-great-grandmother is. I hope that she is a deep one, at the bottom of the sea, calling me home. But for now, I'll just have to wear a fish.
Necromancy has gotten such a bad rap. When you think about it, what could be more important? Tonight, Rob and I are going to try to raise a body.
If we can bring back the dead, I'm going to raise a whole school of undead fish.
What are you doing with that shovel? What did I tell you about your grandfather's grave?
But I can bring him back.
I don't care. Just let your grandfather stay dead. He will like it better that way. Why don't you two come into the kitchen? Rob, how about some sweet tea? I just made a batch.
Fish do not drink tea.
We're just going to worship at Rob's place, Mom.
Fine. Just don't be out late. Even cultists have school in the morning.
She'll come around. When I bring back the dead, everything will change. Do you have a shovel at your place?
Fish do not use shovels.
Okay. I have an idea.
So, how are we going to dig up the body?
Well, if we do this right, it'll dig itself up.
So this is where your grandfather's buried.
No. This is someone else's grandfather.
Why are we digging up someone else's grandfather?
Mom didn't say don't dig up someone else.
Oh. Oh, yeah. Nice. I got this from Dave. He says it helps him communicate with the dead.
Dave communicates with the dead? How have I never heard about this?
You want to try it?
Let's do it. What is that? Oh.
Oh my God, Mike. I've never seen the world this way before.
You're about to see something you've never seen ever. For there be diverse sorts of death, some wherein the body remaineth, and in some it vanisheth quite away with the spirit.
Wait, what incantation is that?
Rob, you're distracting me.
Okay.
Sometimes, as verily attested, it dieth within the body, but after a season is raised up again in the place where the body did decay.
Now what?
Shh. I think I hear something.
Yellow sign. God, I think you've opened a door to Carcosa. What? Did I use the wrong chant? Mike, I see our 8th grade English teacher. No, it's a giant snake. Yeah, it's Mrs. Cartland. Let's get out of here.
My first necromancy trial had some small hiccups, but I'm sure we'll get it right next time.
There's so much to talk about in that one, because I hope that also, it is a spoof. It is self-parody, like I was saying, because there was a lot of things that we were talking about when we were doing the serious Cthulhu stuff that shows up here. There's enough in here that that references the Cthulhu mythos that even hardcore fans should, I hope, realize it's done by someone who respects the material a lot. And this is the jokes that come out of it. Let's see. Yeah, hey to everybody who's in all the different, might be on one of the different channels. This is streaming in a few different places. So welcome everybody. Please do hit the like button on whichever stream you are on. Let's see. Yeah, so Jason says, I was waiting for the smoke detector to go off and interrupt his ritual. As that scene was written in the script, there was supposed to be like incense all over the place. We wrote it so it'd be like just that the whole place is smoke filled because he's just got incense packed everywhere. But as it turns out, we weren't able to actually do that. So there was only like this one stick of incense, but we used the fog machine to fog up the whole room with all the smoke anyway. And I think it gets across the point about what he was doing there. The reference to Dad when Dad says, you know better than to start these long and involved rituals right before dinner. Well, that was a reference to like things my mother would tell me, like, and my brother right when we were starting, right before dinner, when we would start some type of long and involved board game, like, oh, we're going to play, Risk or something. And it's 10 minutes before dinner time. Like, you know better than to start these long and involved board games right before dinner. So that was the reference there. When Rob comes in, he comes right there. That scene has become so iconic, but it's because we never told him to come in. The doorbell rings. She goes and opens it. Rob is standing there for his grand appearance, and he just stands there. But that's because we never got instructions to, you can actually come in when she opens the door. So he just stands there. But it was so great that he just stands there with your fish friend is here, that became iconic. And that was the shot we used. There were other ones where he does walk in, but it's better if he just stands there because he was never actually invited in. So Rayla says, sweet and happy Halloween. I know what I'll be doing and spending the rest of this evening doing, watching this. I've been a big fan ever since the first episode. Thank you. And hopefully, if you are a fan of the show and you are watching someplace else other than the Cultist channel, I would at least ask you to come over and subscribe to the Cultist channel, because we're re-releasing the entire show dedicated channel on the Cultist dedicated channel. So if you are enjoying the show and you want to see more of it, then the dedicated Cultist channel is the place to be. Please subscribe there so we know people are interested. We're re-releasing the whole show. We're going to try to put it out in a big way there. And I've got a plan to try to get a season 3 made. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, but that's where all the Cultist information is going to be. If you are interested, please be part of that channel. And then also please be part of the Raven Keep Discord server. The Raven Keep Discord server is where everything's going on. I'm going to put that in there too. So there we go. Frederick says, I never watched the show before finding your YouTube. Well, because it's my show. So I'm glad you've been enjoying it. Yes. Small hiccups. So let's see. Yeah, right. Yes. The awkward standing there attention. That was Rob. That was all Dax. I mean, Dax is the actor. That was all Dax. He made this come together. And we loved shooting this monologue of his. Man, doing this monologue with him was absolutely amazing. He became Rob. When he did part of this monologue for the audition, he auditioned for this. And it was so funny because he came late to the audition and he was so apologetic. We were doing auditions at the Hoover Library. We had a room at the Hoover Library where people were coming in and auditioning, and he was late. And he was so apologetic that he was late. But he said, so we said, all right, no problem. Sit down to this. And he said, it was like rushing in to get here to this audition. Can you please just give me a couple of minutes to settle in? And Brianna's like, okay, no problem. Do that. And so he just stops. And it was kind of awkward because he was just completely silent, just like he was completely gathering himself from having the panic, like running in here to be late for this audition. Just completely gathered himself. And there was this awkward pause. And then after a little while, when he was ready, all of a sudden, bang, he delivered this monologue. He was Rob. It was so incredible. It was so incredible. So this monologue was his ability to do this at the audition is basically what got him the part. And we just loved shooting this. And there's even this bug that flies by. If you watch this scene again, there's this weird bug that flies by in front of him. And that's one of the reasons why we love this take, because there's this bug that flies by. You may be able to see it on the actual episode, not the in-stream play. But there's this bug that flies by, and he doesn't even react. He's just completely being Rob, and it's so fantastic. Ray, yes, right. Well, maybe. Okay. Kickstarter. Yes, let me get to that in just a second. I'll get to that in just 1 second, Rayla. So if you are watching on my channel or whatever, please do, if you're interested in the Cultists, so that we know, go to the dedicated channel. That would be fantastic. But yes, I love Rob. You know, Rob has just become so amazing, and Dax is such a huge part of this that has made this happen. This night scene, we didn't know how difficult night scenes were to shoot. It just adds a whole bunch of complications. And we have 2 night scenes in this episode. And you'll notice that in season 2, we don't have any night scenes. And that's just because there was the added technical complication. If I would never, this the first time I'd ever tried to do a show, I wouldn't ever have a night scene again in the first time you try to do something. So, we made it work. I mean, we did get it. We got it to work. It happened just fine. This is in my backyard. So this was in my backyard, this scene. And for a long time, this was, we made that headstone out of styrofoam. So that was a prop that we made. I think it looks great on screen. We shot this in my backyard. It was so cold the night that we shot this. It was so cold the night that we shot this. I felt so bad for everybody, especially them. They were so cold. I was like, oh my God. We're out here at night trying to shoot in the cold. We had to run this long extension cord because we've got this gigantic light that's up that's providing the light because it's in the dark in the middle of a field in my backyard. I felt so bad for everybody. I was like, oh my God, why am I making people do this to get this night scene? But it came off. It came off very well. Now, does anybody know what incantation he's saying? Does anybody know what incantation he's saying? We'll check the Cthulhu reference here. Let's see. Let me address Rayla while people talk about that. So Rayla asks, Kickstarter, we created a board game for this show. We created a board game for the Cultists that we were going to launch, and we were going to try to launch this party game. It's a party game about the Cultists, and we were going to try to launch it with season 2, but we didn't get enough energy. So we were going to crowdfund the board game, have the board game produced, and then use the funds from the board game to fund season 3. We could still potentially do that. Probably launch on GameFound. Have the board game launch on GameFound. It's a social deduction game where you're got loyal cultists on one side, and then you have cultists of the Yellow King on the other. And but we didn't have enough energy, and I wish we did. So that's why we're relaunching to try to do this, to see if we can do the board game, the associated board game, and season 3. So we will see. TSL Frontman says, I feel like this deserves a really good thematic melody to tie things together in transition, like every 1 to 2 bars, a TV themed jolly but minor key jingle. Well, there is, now this is what we call the mashup, where we've got all of the episodes strung all together. But at the end of every episode, we do have a custom theme song because Leon Sky, who plays Dave, wrote a custom theme song for the Cultists, and that plays at the end. I need to do a dance video for the Cultist theme song. I want a Cultists theme song video. Oh, Tomocrat, thank you. TSL says, can't script the kind of genuine charm that bleeds in. Yes, and that only gets better as we go. as all the actors get more comfortable with each other. Now the scenes of season 1 are shot, out of order and stuff like that. So it's not like you're seeing a progression in season 1, especially if you go to season 2. Yeah, James says night scenes need so much light, which means power needs to be run right. Yeah, there were extension cords going down outside. Now you know why studios always use a night filter. Yeah, that's that. Sharon asks, do you have any blooper scenes? Yes, we have a blooper reel. We do have a blooper reel. So this incantation that he speaks is from the original short story, which predates Lovecraft, by Ambrose Bierce, called The Inhabitant of Carcosa. If you're looking for a short story, which is the initial and original appearance of Carcosa, then it's Ambrose Bierce, An Inhabitant of Carcosa, that predates Lovecraft. So I have him reading part of Ambrose Bierce's original short story about the inhabitant of Carcosa in this. So that's what that was. Yep. See, there's all kinds of. If you go through here for Easter eggs that actually are references to things that are Lovecraft or pre-Lovecraft, then you're going to find them. Because when I was doing Journey to the Tree of Sorrows, which was the serious Lovecraft, we decided that we only wanted to take what Lovecraft had written, because the mythos has been expanded ever since Lovecraft. But Lovecraft drew on some things that were earlier, so we had decided that we'll take Lovecraft and we'll take the sources that he drew upon, and one of them is Ambrose Bierce, who wrote The Inhabitant of Carcosa. Inhabitant of Carcosa, I would never have guessed. It's been so long since I've read it. It's there. That's exactly what it is. Props to you really doing your research. That's why I love this series. Thank you. See, that's why I think, especially if it gains more popularity, that it will be popular among Lovecraft fans, because I consider myself a Lovecraft fan. I mean, I am. That, yes, this is the lighthearted side of things. I really appreciate the serious side of things, and this ties all of that together. What else could it be but the eulogy of a golden city and king, Daniel says. If you've never read Ambrose Bierce, find a copy of the Devil's Dictionary. Oh, let me make note of that. Find Bierce, the Devil's Dictionary. Actually, what shows up, so our special effects scene was the candles going out here. But they rewrote this scene. We had a much worse scene, like what they see. Seeing that it's my 8th grade English teacher. No, it looks like a giant snake. Yo, yeah, that's Mrs. Cartlin. That was made up by those two, Dax and Peter, on set that night, and it was better than what was actually in the script. TSL Froman says, could try to make the next Thriller dance just for potentially catching the TikTok wave. Well, that's true. I could put it out on TikTok. I didn't think about that. You know what? I'm going to share this to the Lovecraft subreddit. Oh, thank you. Yes, please do. Yes, please. And share it to the Cultists, the Cultist channel, dedicated Cultist channel, because that's what they would be interested in most, I believe. Thank you, Rayla. That's perfect. All right. So we are heading on. We are now heading on into episode 3.
Small hiccups, but I'm sure we'll get it right next time. Being a cultist around here is really free form, casual, low pressure. We got a lot of guys that worship different gods in their various ways, but we still try to get all the local cultists together, forges connections in the local cultist community. Everyone is welcome. You can just watch if you want. You don't have to worship anything you don't want to worship.
Sometimes we get really strange characters around here.
Cultists? Is that what they are? I thought they were some sort of drama club.
Yeah, I've seen those guys around. I've been thinking about joining a cult myself. Sometimes you've got to shake up your spiritual practices in order to get some results. But my wife would disown me. She's a Baptist and I'm a Methodist. She thinks that's a cult.
Am I scared for my safety? No.
Would we raise our kids Baptist or Methodist or in service to the elder gods? You see, it can never be.
Of course I checked again this morning. And I still don't have gills, but it's fine.
Oh, dude. Oh. What's up? I'm Dave. I'm a cultist. I'm down with Dagon, but I also do a little bit of casual Cthulhu worship here and there. I'm also in a band.
What are you doing?
Oh, it's our secret cultist handshake. Yeah. We made it last week. I was thinking we could teach it.
No.
Okay, so who else is coming? This is all of us.
All of us. This is just our gaming group.
We do need to do more community outreach. Try and bring in some new blood?
Yes, but if no one else is coming, then let's just get to it.
What are we supposed to do? The same thing we always do. Complain about how hard it is being in a cult to the only people who understand. How's the cult of Dagon going?
It's the esoteric order of Dagon.
Oh, right. Sorry. So, how is it?
About the same. We've never really recovered from the defeat of the Philistines.
Yeah, I know. It'll get better, though. Dude, this would be a sick place to bring the band, bro. No! We've done our cultist meetup here too many times. This place is, like, sacred now. You can't mix cult life and band life, Dave. It's like sacrilege.
Is this the cultist meetup?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Come to hang out?
Please, sit down. No! No way! We can't just let some strange cultists show up.
Guys, please accept me. I have nothing else. I brought some snacks.
He's brought an offering.
Oh, all right. You can sit down.
So, what exactly is going on here?
I want to join the esoteric order of Dagon.
Oh my god! You're gonna need a bigger fish. Give me this.
Why?
You're just not ready for it yet.
Okay.
I am so glad to have been here. Now I have someone to take under my fin. I'm gonna teach him everything I know. If you could become a fish, that would be amazing. Then I could command you with my mental fish powers.
So does everyone here worship the old things?
There are no old things. My 6th grade gym stock, that's an old thing. It's elder thing. And they're the greater gods. The old ones.
Oh, I could totally worship the elder ones.
No. Again, there are no elder ones. Elder things and old ones. Basic cult stuff here. Don't worry, dude. The old ones don't throw lightning bolts. You want some coffee?
I don't drink coffee.
You sure? It's cultist coffee.
Cultist coffee?
Yeah.
What makes it cultist coffee?
I'm a cultist and I'm drinking it.
Oh. Then I'll have some.
I like it here so far.
It's just there aren't many girls. Thought there'd be girls here. That's my only criticism.
His only criticism of this is that he thought there would be girls. I love that. The only thing that he thought was wrong about that was that he thought that there would be girls. I love it. Thank you for sharing, Rayla. Yes, thank you to the cultist subreddit. It's not a cultist subreddit yet. The Lovecraft subreddit. I really appreciate it. All right. Let's see. Jason says when your wife disowns you, it's called the divorce. Yeah, divorce. Yes, I guess so. So yes, that was Steve, and he was called out. So I played Steve. Brianna obviously had a cameo in this, our director. So obviously you've probably seen Brianna on Table Talk. She is a regular, but here she is. Someplace. Well, I guess I skipped by it. But Brianna makes her a cameo here. I make a cameo as Steve, and it's called out as Steve in the script. So it is a reoccurring character. So I play Steve in this episode. And then, of course, Steve is a reoccurring character who is a major character in in season 2. But Brianna, there's Brianna. So Brianna got her part cut in season 2, unfortunately, but she wanted to put herself in, and she probably plays the same character in season 2, but she is in the deleted scenes in season 2. But that's our director right there, our co-writer and director. And she also is someone who frequently studies story with us on the Table Talk channel. If you're on the Table Talk channel, she comes in every 2 weeks to study story with us. Let's see. Mental fish powers. That's exactly right. Wow, now I'm catching all the movie Easter eggs. Right. Yes, exactly. There's a lot here. I've been around long enough to remember that y'all actually sold Cultist coffee. Oh, yes. Yeah, Cultist coffee is actually a thing, right? And actually on the Ravenkeep web store, there are still some of those mugs left. So if you go to ravenkeep.net, I'll bring this up later, but if you go to ravenkeep.net, if you actually want, well, I can't type. There are actually Cultist coffee and Witch's Brew mugs and a fish do not drink tea mug. If you don't have those, I'll bring that up at the end. But there are mugs, and I can ship those to you. There are still a few left. That scene with Rob, that came to us when he says that, hey, I'm still, yes, of course I checked this morning, and I'm still not growing gills, but it's fine. That was not actually in the script. Brianna and I thought up that scene as we were driving to the park that morning. Brianna stayed with me at my house while we were shooting this, and so Brianna and I would drive to the set every morning together. And we just spontaneously came up with that scene and that dialogue right there and wrote it in the margins of the script and told Dax, hey, we want you to say this. We got this new insert here. So it was just scribbled into the margin of the script. And it's such a great touch. It's so fantastic. And then, we had him crying once we got back to the house, or when we went to the house. I think we shot the house after we had shot all of the park scenes, which meant that we were able to have him shoot his monologue in the park and then had notes in the place. Now, make sure we get this insert shot of Rob crying in his bedroom. And this bedroom that we had, this was an Airbnb that we were shooting in. And it's got this really weird, like, carpet or it's a like hanging kind of tapestry woven blanket thing that's behind the bed. And I don't really know exactly what it is, but it does look like some kind of esoteric thing, or like it could be some type of esoteric thing that definitely Rob would have in his bedroom. BGD says, this is the funniest episode of season 1. Dave is my favorite character. Dave is a fantastic character. No girls. Right. Yes. So we need some witches to come in. We sure do. We need some witches. How did he find out about the cultist meetup? That's a good question. See, we were thinking about like what must have been Ben's arc and what had happened to Ben that brought him here. Because actually, originally, Ben had been cast much young. Actually, all of them had been cast much younger. All of them had been cast much younger, including Ben. But like when Ben shows up, so they got cast actually older, especially when Ben shows up. If Ben had been like a 15-year-old kid, that would have hit differently when he says, "I have nothing else. Please accept me. I have nothing else." If he were 15, you'd be like, well, what does that matter? But since he's older now, you're like, oh, well, something really must have happened to him to traumatize him in the past. So that works better. Originally, we did have that was a major thing. Originally, I had another guy who was 16 years old who was going to play Mike, but he was out of state. You talk about the complications of having a minor on set, plus the complications of having an out-of-state minor on set, having somebody who was going to a 16-year-old, and it was one of those situations. Like when I was 16, I had my driver's license. But it turns out that he didn't even have his driver's license. So his mom and dad were going to have to drive him from Georgia to Alabama in order to do this show. And we really would love to have had him, because at the time when that was the case, we had a much younger Mike, and Peter Swanson, who plays Mike right now, was going to be Ben. So originally, Peter here, who plays Mike, was cast as Ben, and we had a much younger Mike cast. But the complications of having an out-of-state guy, plus he dropped out at the last minute. He had some type of union commercial to shoot, and so he dropped us at the last minute because that was so complicated. And I was trying to get all of the paperwork and everything in order to have his mom and dad over here for the extended shoot coming all the way from Georgia. And then he said, wait a minute, I've got this commercial union shoot that I need to do. And he wanted to do this show, but his mom and dad wanted him to do the union commercial. So we did some kind of commercial shoot or something like that. And then we were like, now Brianna and I were like, what do we do? So Peter made the pitch to Brianna, who was the director, to please play Mike, and she made that call, and then she went and found Glenn, who plays Ben, and put him in for Glenn. So that's what was going on. What is Brianna's character? Just a local, just somebody else in the park. Brianna's character was just another local person who was in the park, who was watching all of this go on. Poor Rob. Yes, he does. How much is shipping for a mug? Here, I'll take this down. I've got it. I don't remember how I have all the shipping set up. Now, of course, shipping, you do get, if you've got stuff over $99 is free. But over here, this is ravenkeep.net. So we've got the Fish Do Not Drink mug, Do Not Drink tea mug right here. So that immortalizes Rob's line, Fish Do Not Drink tea. The Witch's Brew. See, we designed the Witch's Brew logo to be like the Starbucks logo, but it's the witch here on it. So we've got the Witch's Brew mug, and then we have the Cultists coffee mug, which is Cultist coffee, and it's got the tentacles on it. So it's like the Starbucks logo, but that is on ravenkeep.net. I don't remember off the top of my head how much all the shipping is. TSL Frontman says 15 might have also been more distantly terrible, feeling like I'm not sure he's really an orphan, right? For with the ages of them. Let's see. The cultist. Rob was originally supposed to be drinking out of a seashell. I had him with the seashell in the script, but I was, as the prop person, I was never able to find a seashell. So, but I did find a horn, because I had a horn, just a drinking horn. I just had one. So, we added in the horn. We just gave him the horn because we had that available. And now the horn has become such an iconic part of Rob's costuming. It was originally going to be a seashell. We had so much trouble with the sheet toga, man, that costuming to get him on. it was really rough. This idea that people in black robes are going to eat white powdered donuts and it's going to go wrong, that was a very, very early part of the an idea for this show. All right, let's go to, yeah, no, the Horde completely works. It's become iconic for him. Jason says, I didn't realize this was a production. I always thought it was you and your friends playing around. I guess there's more to it than I thought. Oh, yeah, there was a lot to this. This was 14 days of production. It takes 14 days to shoot an episode of the Cult, not an episode, a season. Now, a season is an hour long. Season is an hour long. It takes us 14 full-time days of production to shoot the Cultists, which is why there isn't a Cultist season 3 yet. I've got to get enough interest and build the interest here to be able to conclude with season 3. Season 3 would be the conclusion. But we got to figure out how to get this going on. Yeah, on set, there are a lot of people on set because however many actors you see, so of course there are the actors that are on set. Then I am on set. Brianna, the director, is on set. Brennan, the director of photography, is on set. Later in season 2, we had a dedicated sound guy. So that's 4 extra people who are there. Then we also have a production manager on set. So that's 5 people at least that are on set, in addition to the actors that you see, and sometimes an additional production assistants. That's an additional 5 or 6 people. And of course, I paid for the production. So like people were paid in order to be on the show. I didn't ask them to volunteer their time. They were paid a moderate, a moderate amount, not a huge amount, but they were paid to be there. I thought that was important. So, it was a major production. Plus, in some cases, we had to rent the Airbnb. That house that is Mike's house, we rented that as an Airbnb in order to be able to shoot. So we rented out the entire house and shot that. Yeah, so I mean, it is kind of a breakneck pace. And if we got to do a season 3, I would slow it down. I would slow it down a little bit. It would still take us 14 days, but we basically did 14 days straight. There may have been a day break in there. But we were just like, because I was afraid that if we didn't just do it, it wouldn't get done. So we just powered in. We got it done. We were shooting all day. Now, Brianna did have us scheduled. Brianna was in charge of the scheduling, so she kind of contracted the days a little bit. So we weren't like doing 10-hour days, because after the end of the days, we had all the offloading of the footage. We had to do, shoot all to watch all the dailies. Brianna watched all the dailies, recorded all the dailies on the, and so forth. So even though the cast went home, the production crew, the producer, me, Brianna, the director, and the director of photography still had 2 or 3 more hours to go, probably 2 more hours to go after all the cast went home. And we'd, packed up the set and everything like that just to download footage for Brianna to go through everything that we shot during the day and figure out what the best takes were and all of that. And then we did it all again. Brianna says, a particular level of dread for the kid, somewhere between he lost his blade and was raised by tapirs and found his first sack to wear. I'm not exactly sure. Hollywood movies shoot about a month for 1.5 times that amount of footage. Yeah, I completely believe it. I didn't know, because this is the first scripted show that I did. And I was like, how do I know if this is going well? How do I know if this is something that's actually going well? I figured that, well, gee, if everybody hates each other, then that would be going well. Or if I would know it's not going well if we were trying to shoot a certain amount, because we have it all scheduled according to Brianna's schedule, and we were just not able to get it done. Like if we were here hours overtime and we're still not able to get it, or if we looked at the dailies and realized that we just are not getting material that's usable, then I would know it wasn't going well. But it did go well. And let me tell you, I have heard stories from other independent productions since then that make me feel so good about the Cultists. That make me feel so good about it, because sometimes stories from set can be absolutely horror stories. Tomocrat says, I'll pinch my pennies for when you kickstart season 3. All right, we got to figure that out. That's one of the things I've been working through all of my projects from the very beginning down. Because if Brianna and I go to LA in next September, this would really need to be shot in the spring. It's tight. It's tight because this is already, November starts tomorrow. NaNoWriMo starts tomorrow. We do have season 3 written, about 95%. So we have season 3 written, but man, I don't know. I would love to be able to finish this. All right, let's go on to episode 4.
Ben has really jumped in and gotten his feet wet. He has done a lot of outreach. he found a couple of cults around town with a lot more girls in them. But I'm not really sure if we need that around here. But Mike says community is really important. Something about the cultist life being really hard for him when he's going at it alone. So we're here to meet the first cult today.
Where's Dave?
He said he's at band practice.
They're supposed to be here by now.
I don't like it.
How'd you get there?
Sorry if we surprised you. We're with the witch cult of Azathoth. I'm Shay.
Acantha, delighted.
Are you from like the 17th century?
What century is this again?
The 21st.
Right. I'm from that one. They seem pretty new at this, but they're nice. I think they have the right heart.
I've never seen cultists like them before. Or smelled them either. What's with the fish?
The girls are weird. I like weird. Weird's cool. I'm glad Ben found him.
I'm not. So you're witches.
We are indeed.
Do you like cast spells on people?
Yeah. Every full moon, we dance naked in the silver moonlight when we cast our spells.
Really?
No.
Oh.
So we are doing yoga in the park today. You're welcome to join.
Do our cults do yoga?
No, cults do not do yoga.
Well, ours does. There are warlocks in the witch cult of Azathoth. If you wanted to join.
Oh, okay.
No, he doesn't want to join that.
Well, suit yourself.
I'm in.
I bet Father Dagon will let me do a little yoga. I don't know why Rob thinks this is a big deal. These girls are amazing, and I think they like me.
I don't like him experimenting with other cults like this. Father Dagon has everything he needs. Fish are not flexible.
Yes, they are.
They are. They are. You know about fish. Ben, more yoga. Down fish.
That's downward dog.
It is now downward fish. I guess he can do more yoga if he wants. It will make him more flexible and fish-like.
I'd never done yoga before. I thought it's good to try something new. I was wrong. Sometimes it's bad to try something new. Very bad.
It was so cold that day. That was another day where it was so cold, and we almost didn't shoot. We almost called off that day. We did shoot that whole episode in one day, and we almost called off shooting because it was so cold. But everybody was there, so they were like, "Let's power through here and get it done." The girls were like, Brianna was wrapped up in all kinds of things as she was directing. It was so cold, and Rachel and Rachel, who plays Shay, and wait a minute, why am I blanking on? Oh my God, and Acantha, they would be running back. I can't believe I'm blanking on her name at the moment. I'm sorry. We're running back and forth. They had blankets that in between takes they would run in. They'd run and cover up in, and it was like, so you're out there doing yoga, and yet it's so cold. It was just ridiculous. Ivy, that's her name. Yes, I don't know exactly where Acantha comes from. Brianna created the character of Acantha, and there was originally a warlock in the cult. There were originally 3 people who showed up. There was 2 witches and a warlock, but the warlock got dropped. Yeah, cults do not do yoga mats. That's right. Hey, Brent. Hey, Brent. Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween. Good to see you. That yes, it is now Downward Fish. That also should be something that gets brought up here in the Geekverse or becomes iconic in the Geekverse. Whenever you're doing yoga, it is now Downward Fish. Yes. So that is and of course that comes back. Yeah, so that episode was also abbreviated because we were shooting it all at once. We were like, man, it was cold. It was like we oscillated here. We had like the coldest week, like later here in Alabama in the spring. It was fine, and all of a sudden it got really cold for the week where we had to be outside. But we were already scheduled, so we had to do it. Daniel says there are lots of quotable moments here. You and Brianna did a great job. Yes, I think there are lots of quotable moments that need to get out to the Geekverse. That's right. That's what we're going to try with the new relaunch. That's what we're trying with the new relaunch here. Also, the Cultists would make a great group cosplay. If people knew what the Cultists was, doing a group cosplay at a convention of the Cultists, one day I'll know my life is complete. That everything is worked out if one day I go to a convention and there are people who are group cosplaying the Cultists. All right, let's go to episode 5.
So we're meeting another cult today, but they want to meet close to the woods for some reason.
We missed you yesterday, Dave.
Oh yeah, sorry man.
Hi. You're the other cultists, right? I'm Carrie. I'm Sherry.
We're the cults.
We know who you are.
Oh. Cool. You're from the
Fertility cult of Shub-Nagorath, yes. We're about to have a worship service. You should totally come.
worshipping Shub, like.
Oh yes.
Sounds dope. Well, Dagon mind if I worship 2 gods?
Actually,
Nah, I mean, I used to be with all sorts of other gods. Just, will there be any yoga?
No.
Cool. I'm down.
I'm not. It smells fishy.
That's just you, Rob.
I'm out of here.
Just this way.
What is that?
The black goat of the woods with 1,000 young.
Where are the 1,000 young? Are they coming?
They will emerge.
Dude, this is hardcore.
Aya, Shub-Nagorath, hail the black goat of the woods with 1,000 young.
I don't know about this. Are you kidding? This is amazing. These girls really understand being in a cult.
Aya, Shub-Nagorath.
I didn't sign up for this. Ah!
Cower before the black goat.
Ah! Dagon! It's okay, but be strong.
Aya, Shub-Nagorath.
Oh, yes! I love this cult. Again! What is wrong with you, Mike? Oh, Aya, Shub-Nagorath. What are you going to do with us?
We're going to eat you.
Yeah. No! They do not mean in the good way. I'm not ready to die. Ouch! You got pepper in my eyes. Let them go! What are you doing? Here to save you! Yes, Antonio, you're my hero. Repent! Repent! I'm sorry, Father Dagon. I will never forsake you again.
You have to get out of here. Go. I don't need saving. This is the best part of my life. Oh, that was intense. That was the most intense worshiping ever. So much better than yoga.
What a bunch of dumbasses.
But at least Ben has learned his lesson and will not stray from the fold of Father Dagon again. The fish fold.
That was way too much community. I think I've had enough now.
That was actually the very first day of shooting. That was my very first day on set. That was the entire cruise. Now, it was my first day on set ever. Other people had been on sets before. But that was the very first day of shooting of the Cultists ever. Basically, that whole episode was shot in the first day. That was the very first time that I'd ever tried all of this. James did say, I'll take time off to drive to Alabama in order to help out free of charge. Well, I might take you up on that, James. I might take you up on that. If we are able to do a season 3, I might take you up on that, especially if you know something about sound and being a sound guy. We're going to need that. Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween. Let's see. The pool noodle became their weapon of choice, and we're going to use that over and over again. Right. So he is into Mike found his kink. Mike found his kink there. OMD. Oh, that's right. OMD. Oh my Dagon. So they were doing Leon was doing whip lessons. And that was complicated because the things you don't think about. Oh yeah, we're in the middle of this forest, this forest here, and we're supposed to be using this whip, so we had to line that up right. But yeah, this was the very first day we were out here all together shooting here. And so this was the first time they were ever in their characters. This is the first time that their interpretation of their characters was actually episode 5 right here. And we introduced the Cult of Azathoth. This was a whole scene that was supposed to be at night. As it was written, this scene was supposed to be at night. They were supposed to be out here with lanterns, and this whole scene was supposed to be a night scene. But then once we got into the logistics of trying to coordinate night scenes, we only ended up with the night scene at the house outside of Mike's house and the night scene in my backyard. There was no way to do a night scene here because you're talking about running all the lights out into the woods and things like that, extension cords, whatever, all the lights. It was not possible to do a night scene here. Plus, then everybody would have had to have been out here with lanterns and stuff. So in the script, this is a night scene, but it was a day scene for shooting. It was just a day scene. So let's see. The black goat is one of my favorite props. It's huge and heavy. When I had seen this particular goat, it's a concrete goat statue that I had seen at a hardware store someplace, and I was like, man, I know exactly what I should do with that. You can see it here. You'll see it later. There is going to be a video coming out that's specifically about the manufacture of, or the painting of the black goat idol here. Because I said, hey, we need a black goat idol. I've seen this black goat at this particular hardware store. That's a concrete yard statue. I'm going to go get it. I had to drive for about an hour to go and get it. Got this concrete statue in the back, and everybody was shocked when they saw it. Because when they were thinking about black goat idol, like my aunt, who was the production manager and also on the art team, she was like, I thought you were talking about like just like a baseball-sized goat statue or something like that. But no, I brought this like, it's like 100 pounds or something. I don't know how heavy it is, but this is a heavy goat statue because it's solid concrete. So all of a sudden we had to get this goat out. And so we painted up this goat and then had to get this goat up into my car to get it to the park. And we were wheeling it out using this hand truck, trying to get this goat out into the woods. This heavy, heavy goat statue. And according to the script, the goat statue was supposed to be up on top of some pedestal. But once we had this concrete goat statue, there was no damn way that it was going up on any kind of pedestal or something like that. So it had to just sit on the ground. So I love the goat statue. The goat statue makes an appearance in season 2 as well. It works so well, but man, that is a heavy beast of a prop. That is a beast of a prop right there. James says, Shub is my favorite god, the black goat of the woods. That prop is rad. It's under my desk now. It's probably going to need to be repainted if it has to reappear. But we had these guys wrapped up. This was, like I said, this was day one. I called it the battle scene because Rob comes in and saves them. That was a lot of fun. And that was when I was hooked. After that episode, shooting that episode, because that was the first day shooting. I was like, I'm hooked. This is great. I love doing this. It's a literal beast of a prop. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Daniel says, it's hard to imagine that a goat like that, even gray, non-painted, would be used for anything else. I know. Like, what else would you say? Hey, what I need is a goat statue in my yard if it's not going to be something like this. Did you have the local police know about your shooting? I think you would get odd 911 calls during that shooting. No, we didn't actually have that. We just went ahead and did it. But it was an issue. That was generally an issue. We did say that we didn't want to like leave the black goat idol out there or something like that, just in case somebody stumbles upon the black goat idol here in rural Alabama, which is known as a very conservative area. And we're out here shooting the cultists with black goat idols and people in robes and things like that. So we didn't want to leave the goat out in the woods or something like that for people to stumble upon and then call the police. And yeah, then you'll see on the news there's some kind of satanic cult or something out here in rural Alabama. But it was an issue, like finding places to shoot. You know, this was a park, so we just went ahead and shot in the park. We just shot in the park. We can't shoot in my house because my house does not look like a normal house. And you know, Mike's house needs to look like a normal house. But I had several people when I was looking for a place to shoot Mike's house turn me down because of the subject matter. That like, I'm not comfortable shooting something about cults and, you know, Cthulhu and something in this house. So that was definitely a thing that why it was difficult. Now, eventually I found that house that was an Airbnb to rent, because even friends' houses were like, no, my parents are not okay with that. Or my wife is not okay with that, rather. That we can't shoot something like this with this kind of material in people's houses here in rural Alabama. The scene that was in season 2, excuse me, the scene where we do the branding, which is later in this episode, my neighbors came to have a discussion with me, actually. So I was shooting the branding scene, which we get to in episode 9 and a little bit in 10. My neighbor, across the street neighbor, came to talk to me about exactly what I was doing over here at my house, and if I was doing like some kind of devil worship or something like that. So that was definitely a thing. Phaser Risk says, I wish Hollywood still used physical props like Spielberg or Lucas instead of CGIing everything nowadays. Yeah. And that's one of my favorite parts of this. That I love the writing. I love the producing, but also I love the physical props, and I love the set dressing and all of that. I love that aspect of making things. I really do. So if I go out to LA or something like that and somebody said, well, you know, you can get a job with either a prop department or set dressing, man, I would definitely do that. I love that part. I love that part. Yes, Alabama. Yes, this is being shot in rural Alabama in the Bible Belt. Yeah, I guess prepping the neighbors for the weirdness is a must. But on the other hand, it's one of those better to ask forgiveness than permission. It's on my property, you know. Hey, do you mind if we're going to be wearing witch hats and robes and something? And it's a comedy. It's a comedy. I mean, I explained it was a comedy. He didn't really get it. You know, there are people who will not get it, even though it's a comedy, right? You say it's a comedy. There are people who won't get what it is here in Alabama. They just will not get that. But he did. He's like, okay, so it's a comedy or something like that. And I wasn't actually like doing some kind of, I don't know what. All right, let's go on to episode 6. Oh, sorry. So Tomocrat says, living in East Tennessee, I totally understand that, sadly. Sorry, I'm trying to get my audio right, so I need to mute this. Yeah, it's probably the exact same way. We're known for that over here with like my family and stuff. We do things like this in a rather conservative Christian area, so it's an issue. All right, let's go to episode 6 then.
That was way too much community. I think I've had enough now.
Fortunately, my fish was safe and sound.
Whoa. I've never had a nightmare like that.
What do you think it means?
I think someone's trying to mind control you.
Wait, you don't mean...
I do. That night at the graveyard. You said you saw the yellow sign.
You think the cult of the Yellow King is here?
Who's the Yellow King? And what's the yellow sign?
He is a king who even emperors worship, ruling from dark and lost Carcosa. The ultimate gift his cultists can give him is a city. And what city would be a brighter jewel in the crown of the Yellow King than our own great town?
His cultists mark their victims for mental torment with a yellow sign.
Oh!
Look! It's a yellow sign.
No. It's just a church flyer.
But it's yellow, and it's a sign.
You'll know when you see it.
Keep your eyes peeled. Their agents could be anywhere.
Ow!
You want some cereal?
No.
How about some eggs instead?
No. No! Get that away from me!
One fish, two fish, red fish, yellow fish.
Hey man, can you toss that back? No, it's not. Bad sign. Bad sign.
For the last 3 days, I've been tormented by the color yellow. Who knew there were so many yellow things in this world? Their cult has gotten into everything.
Mike is right. They are after us. So I've called an emergency cultist meeting to deal with the issue.
Where's Dave?
I don't know. I told him to be here.
Just gonna have to start without him. It's getting bad, guys.
Yeah, their cult is everywhere.
Where are they coming from? We were the cult of the Yellow King. Where would we meet?
There!
You two, stay here and stake out that bench. We need to know everything that happens there.
How do we do that?
I don't know, just be inconspicuous.
Where are you going?
To get Shane a can. We need backup.
It moved.
What's up, guys? Sorry I'm late. Band practice kinda took a while.
All right. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah. And of course, you also talk about like what I'm doing with like the Christmas story, the trial of Saint Gabriel, where I'm going with theophany. It's an issue. It's an issue. It's an issue. Brent says we want season 3. Man, I would love to make this happen. I would love to be on set next spring. I would love to be on set next spring. I would love to do it. We would be able to do even better because we did season 1. We learned so much between season 1 and season 2. Season 2 is so much better than season 1. Season 3 would be so much better than season 2. I mean, we get better, and I would love to be able to put something on camera like season 3, but like, this is what we've been able to do. This is what we've learned. This is what we've been able to accomplish. I would love to be able to do that. Hey, Sable Phoenix. Well, I'm glad you're here now. I'm glad you're here now. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Halloween. Rayla says, I wish you would come over to the Pacific Northwest. It's lovely over here, and they'd totally welcome the weirdness. Yeah, I'm sure they would. That would be a place to do this kind of thing. It absolutely would. Rayla says, this is my favorite episode. This was a lot of people's favorite episode. Episode 6 was a lot of people's favorite episode. Brennan, the director of photography, that was his favorite episode. I think it was Brianna's favorite episode as well. I think it was. Right. Yes, it is reenactment. So when you think about this from the context of a mockumentary being filmed, and then they actually went to a lot of trouble to do a reenactment of what Rob's nightmare was. You know, you can tell Rob like talking to the documentary crew, like, okay, I had this dream. No, I'll show you. I'll reenact it. Get the camera rolling. I will show you exactly what I was dreaming. And so Rob must have been like that with the camera crew, to saying, hey, I'll reenact it for you. How did we do the fish turning? Brennan, the director of photography, knew how to do that. I don't exactly know how he did it, but it was cut in the middle of the switch. So if you notice, like, okay, let me go back to the beginning. I'll show you. I can show you how it was done. So let me turn the volume down over on this. So I've got my volume up, but just watching here, he was like, trust me, it'll work. So I was like, okay, fine. You know what you're doing. So this was Brennan's idea. So we've obviously got a shot of him here inspecting himself. And then Brennan whips the camera down to what he's picking up. Right. So he had to do the picking up twice. So the cut occurs during the whipping. So while the camera's blurred, while you're seeing the blur, that's where someplace in there's the edit cut. So Dax did this whole sequence twice, once with the regular fish on and once with the skeletal fish on. And then each time and the camera whipped down to him picking up the toothbrush. And so the cut is someplace in there when he's picking up the toothbrush, and that's when it cut. And then we go to him waking up. And of course, it's great that Rob sleeps with his fish on. Oh, maybe that should be some kind of song. Sleep with your fish on. Okay, I have to think about that. But yeah, so this was a great episode. I would say this is one of the highlights of season 1. And I really want to point this out, because here's one of the things that I wish was better and wish was more clear on screen. Let me see if I can freeze frame it. Okay, so do you see the yellow sign that is behind Mike? Okay, do you know the show True Detective? I love True Detective. So do you know the show True Detective? Well, I replicated the church flyer from True Detective, because it's got the Yellow King and Carcosa in True Detective. So at one point, I think it's Matthew McConaughey holds up a church flyer that clues them into the going to, I believe, the church. So I wish that Mike here were cheated a little bit as you're looking at the camera to the right, because I freeze framed the True Detective Yellow King church flyer and then carefully replicated it as part of the church, as part of our prop department, printed out on a yellow paper. So that is, maybe I could find that sometime. I'll see if I can find that. But what is behind him is actually a replica of the True Detective Yellow King church flyer. And I wish it got more screen time, but this was the take that ended up being used. But if you zoom in, you freeze this, like Jesus Christ will save whatever, the illustration that's on it, that is the replica of the true detective prop. Love the yellow fish, DSL Frontman says. Flash edit. Yeah. Oh, Rayla says, gasps, I have a yellow sign as my profile picture. I mean, technically, it's Bill Cipher and he's yellow. Oh no. Welcome. Also, don't repaint the goat idol. Make it a desecration by shove by the hand of the Yellow King as the sect war escalates. Yeah, well, that's true. See, it used to be, it's under my deck, which means it's been rained on, which means paint is peeling off. I tried to put it in different places, but it's so difficult to put something like that gigantic statue someplace. So it does have a really nice organic look to it right now, because paint is peeling off of it. But it might have to be all right. Yes, this is a good sign. That's like, you see that different places. Like that's a like, I don't know, somebody made that this is a good sign. And I was like, but it's yellow, so it's a yellow sign. So there you go. You can barely notice it, but it's there. Yes. It should be a new channel and a new channel emote. Yes. Sable says, yeah, cutting on a whip pan is more challenging than a wipe, but it's also one of the possibly more common because it's harder to pick out when watching. Right. It's very difficult to pick out. So Brennan was completely right. About that. Let's see what else is in here. This was a great episode. I remember drawing that. So if you want to see Brennan, so right here, Dax is actually running the camera during this scene right here. We needed an extra to be the tennis player. So we went down to the tennis courts. So at the moment, Dax is actually our cameraman, and that right there is Brennan. So if you're wondering who the director of photography and the main editor of the show is, it's Brennan right there. So that's Brennan. So he got to be in front of the camera because we needed another person. And Dax, who plays Rob, took over camera operation because he wanted to learn a little bit about camera operation. So you're actually seeing, so I think every other scene in this season was shot by Brennan. He was operating the camera. But for this particular scene, Dax is operating the camera, and you get to see Brennan, who is our director of photography. And now Brennan is now married to Megan. So Megan is my co-host on Dinner and a Board Game. And Brennan also was the director of photography for season 1 of Dinner and a Board Game. And now Brennan is married to Megan. So do you have cousin-in-law? Megan is my cousin. So do you have cousin-in-law? Is that a thing? Do we have cousins-in-law? If we have cousin-in-law, if that's actually a thing, Brennan is now my cousin-in-law. So flash at it. Yes. Amazing. So that was all Brennan. Brennan made that happen. Brennan executed like this. Tomocrat says this episode really sets all the characters here. Yes, it does. So this was a great episode. We considered submitting this episode to some type of film thing, but festival, but it's just one film in one episode in the whole thing, and so it never happened. This has never gone. We never went to any kind of film festival or anything like that. I did do a showing of season 2 at a beer at a brewery before it came out on YouTube. This underneath this bridge right here, like we were shooting underneath this bridge, and then later somebody goes like at the park, like, don't get underneath that bridge. There's snakes. And we're like, oh, wait, what? Hold on. What? Oh my God. Yes. Okay. So James says first cousin by marriage or cousin-in-law. So yeah, my cousin by marriage, first cousin. Yes. Cousin-in-law. So that's what Brennan is now. This was great because we wanted to have the yellow back, like it's so like, where would the cult of the Yellow King meet in their thinking? At the yellow bench. And so you're seeing the yellow bench in the background. And so it's like, we wanted it to be like, there's a yellow bench back there. Where would the Yellow King, cultists of the Yellow King meet? Oh, at the yellow bench, of course. And then you go over to it and it's back there. And we had so much fun with like the Scooby-Doo scene where Rob and Ben like appear behind, and we'd let them play around the bench. And that scene where Ben comes up and whacks the bench with the stick, that was an invention of Glenn, and it actually cracked Dax up, but we were able to cut it so that you don't notice. But that was just something they were doing and playing around with the bench here. That was all a lot of fun. I have so many memories of this. Like I said, this is why this is one of my favorite things that I've ever done. The memories of shooting this. Like I said, even if I never shoot anything else, the Cultists season 1 and season 2 is one of the favorite memories of my entire life. All right. Well, I'm going to let us watch episode 7 now. Episode 7. I'm going to turn me off and I'm going to turn the episode on here. And here we go. Episode 7.
Dave's band has been infiltrated by the Yellow King, but I can exorcise him. It won't be pretty, but it's for his own good.
I didn't know. I swear. Don't you think this is a little over the top? By the power of Father Dagon! Oh.
Hey, I brought... What are you doing?
I'm purging him of the influences of the Yellow King. I'm not with the Yellow King! I'm with you! I swear!
Better do a bit more, just to be safe.
No, wait! Oh.
Probably good now.
So, this is pretty serious, huh?
Very serious. Oh.
What happened at the bench? Never moved.
Some people sat there.
Who?
I don't know. We didn't pay attention to that.
But there were 4 dog humping incidents.
Yeah, we watched that.
So what is your plan? You don't have one, do you?
Not yet.
Well, there was the bench thing. So.
What are these?
Teriyaki chips.
Sea lettuce algae. Sea salt. Octopus powder. Little disciple, this is not a snack. These are the material components for summoning Cthulhu.
So, this is the plan. Summoning Cthulhu?
If we had Cthulhu on our side, the cult of the Yellow King wouldn't stand a chance.
You know how to summon Cthulhu with snack chips?
Well, yes, of course. As a leading member of the esoteric order of Dagon, I am very familiar with Cthulhu. Beneath the waves, Father Dagon and Mother Hydra lead all deep one kind into the worship of great Cthulhu.
Whoa, I didn't know that. When did you learn that?
It is learned after taking the second oath of Dagon. Very advanced and not for the faint of heart. Come, I will show you. Can I get the...
I just don't think this is how Cthulhu works.
Disciple, I need you here.
Okay.
Wizard Priest, I need you there. And, Dave, right there. Bring forth the seasoned offering. Ho! Ho! Ha! Oh, ha! Zabada! Oh, ha! Zabada! Oh, ha! Zabada! Oh, ha! Zabada! Oh, ha! Zabada!
I just don't want to say anything. Rob does not take criticism well. Maybe we should just see how this plays out.
Great Cthulhu! Cthulhu! The time has come! We summon you!
Shout louder! Maybe he's in deep thought.
Or on the toilet!
Or on a journey!
He's not on a journey!
Louder then! He must be awakened!
We're trying!
Nothing is happening.
Ben, we need more chips. Ben, where did you get those chips?
At the 7-Eleven.
I don't want to go to a dance club.
Guys, is this the best way to summon Cthulhu?
No. We don't need more snack chips. This won't work this way. I know what we need to do. Follow me.
So there are a lot of references here as well to talk about, and man, this was also a great episode. We enjoyed it. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn down the volume. I'm going to turn off the volume here. But let's see what people are saying over here in the comments. The was it shown at Indy at Gen Con? Was it shown in Indy at Gen Con? I know I saw it there first. I don't think I ever showed it at Gen Con. Really? I don't think so. Did we show it at Gen Con? Oh, now I don't think I did. Yet so many great lines in the series. If we had Cthulhu on our side. Who doesn't want Cthulhu on their side, right? Yeah, okay, so Rayla, so did he just make up that chant? Yes, actually he did. Ya ba zaba da. That it just said in the script that Rob starts chanting. And so Yaba Zaba Da was something that was created by Dax as on the spot. He just created that. So Yaba Zaba Da, yeah, maybe Rob just created that on his own, but Dax certainly did right there, because it just said he begins chanting a strange and weird chant or something like that. And now Yaba Zaba Da has become such an iconic part of the Cultists. Ho ha zaba da, exactly. Yes. Need more chips. Like, after all of that, like, what's the problem with what we're doing here? We need more chips. So this scene right here, this was also a very, we didn't storyboard this show because there was no point, although there was a shot list. Brianna coordinated with Brennan for a shot list in order to create the show. But, like, for instance, but sometimes there are different visions in people's head, and that's why something like a storyboard is important, because we were trying to figure out how to get this shot done. And in my mind, he was always standing up like this, but in Brianna's mind, he was sitting down and tied to the tree. So when I was trying to set up the shot, because I was on set kind of, I was the producer, but I was on set kind of subordinate, trying to set up shots, but like I was setting this up and Brianna didn't understand what I was trying to do. And we lost a lot of time setting this up because in her mind, he was sitting down and in my mind, he was standing up. So that's kind of things that, that can take a lot take a lot of time if everybody's not understanding what's actually the shot is supposed to be and what we're supposed to be setting up on scene. That can be a thing. It was also so cold this day. This was another one of these really cold days. It was like 34 degrees. I don't know if it was quite freezing, but it was like 34 degrees out here. And here was the scene where we have to throw water on somebody. And Leon was like, I love the Leon school of acting, because Leon will just take anything. Leon will just take anything. So Leon was like, no, just throw it. Let's do it. Let's just do it. And there was some kind of constraint here. We only got one take of this. We practiced this take with throwing the water with the fish in it, but we didn't have the water in the bucket because we were only going to get one take at this. It was so freezing, like it was close to it, like 34 degrees. We had towels set up everywhere. So like as soon as we throw water on Leon, we got to dry him off immediately because we don't want him to have something happen to him because he's wet and it's 34 degrees out here. And somebody had to leave, like had a hard out. It might have been Dax. So we were like, we're going to get one take. So this whole shot was done in one take. We practiced a few times without water, but there was a problem, like just with Dax just letting go, Dax just letting go and throwing the bucket of water on him. And that was not working in practice. It was not working in practice. But then we had like 12 minutes left. And like, we have to do this scene right now. So we filled the bucket with water and we said, all right, let's go. And then this is what we got. So this was one take. There were some practices without the camera rolling because there was no water. There was this one take and it produced this scene. and it went so well. So this was one take, and it worked.
This is a little over the top? By the power of Father Dagon.
Hey, Vision. Good to see you, Vision. So glad to see you. So glad you're here. Hey, man. Welcome.
Influences of the Yellow King.
So like today.
The
Yes.
Yellow King. I'm with you.
That Phaser Riff says, I really want to go to the store now while wearing a headband with a fish attached just for kicks and giggles. Yeah, totally do that. Let us know how that goes.
So, this is...
We head into some biblical references as well as we go. So here, when we've got the chips and salsa here, this was one of the things that I had written in my notebook that was a joke about this, because a friend of mine on Facebook years and years ago had posted a photo of his teriyaki chips, the ingredients of his teriyaki chips, and he had listed all of the ingredients or several of the ingredients in the teriyaki chips. And he was like, what is this? The material components for summoning Cthulhu? And I was like, oh my God, that's great. So I took out the notebook where I was writing all the different ideas and notes for the story. And I was like, teriyaki chips, the material components for summoning Cthulhu. So that came from his Facebook post, all of these things that are in teriyaki chips. Although it was also really hard for me to find teriyaki chips. And it didn't really matter because you don't even see it really all that much here in the scene anyway. But I went to great pains as the prop person to make sure they were actually holding teriyaki chips, and the teriyaki chips were actually used in the filming of this scene.
Very familiar with Cthulhu. Beneath the waves.
So there is also a reference to the dog humping. Yes, the 4 dog humping incidents. That was something that was a reference to the spoofs that are done in academic journals. There was an academic journal spoof. You know, somebody does some kind of article and it's like, it's a complete joke, but I wonder if I can actually get it published. And there was an academic article around this time that was published about dog humping incidents. There was somebody completely made up who was pretending to actually watch dog humping incidents in a park and wrote a scientific article about it. And of course, it was published in a journal. And so that's a reference to a spoof of a scientific article about people watching and recording dog humping incidents in a park. You can tell it was cold because the girls are wrapped up here, even in the scene. They've got their long coats on, and the Cantha's wrapped up in a
not yet
blanket here as well.
There was the bench thing.
And of course, you can tell Ben's toga keeps getting worse and worse from the costuming perspective as this goes on, trying to keep it on him. But it works for his character. Even though it was annoying while we were actually shooting the show. Let's see what's going on in the comments here. Well, you know, he took it. He was there. So you can't get teriyaki chips at 7-Eleven. Well, there isn't a 7-Eleven around here. Okay, so wait a minute. So the 7-Eleven joke. So later, when the 7-Eleven joke comes up that, you know, we need more chips. Where did you get those? The 7-Eleven. And Rob says, I don't want to go to a dance club. There was a scene written where they think a 7-Eleven is a dance club, and that's because there are no 7-Elevens around me. Here in rural Alabama, or in Alabama in general, there are no 7-Elevens. There are 7-Elevens in Florida. I lived in Tampa for a little while when I was teaching at the University of South Florida. And I didn't know what a 7-Eleven was. And somebody just mentioned a 7-Eleven. And for some reason, I thought it was a dance club. And so that's why this reference comes in, that Rob thinks a 7-Eleven is a dance club. Actually, a 7-Eleven is a convenience store. So I'm really glad that I didn't get all dressed up for a party and then go out to the 7-Eleven, because you're going to be disappointed. If you get all dressed up in your club clothes, ready to really, shake a leg, have a party, going clubbing, and you show up at the 7-Eleven, turns out not what you're looking for. Not what you're looking for. Right. Phaser Risk says sometimes the best ideas happen out of nowhere like that. Gotta love those unexpected epiphanies. Yeah, it completely works for him. His costuming, right, like that. Hey, Spud, welcome, Spud. It's so good to see you. Hey, if people are coming in who we haven't seen in a while, I do just want to remind everybody, if you love the Cultists, that I've got a dedicated Cultist YouTube channel now. So I don't know what channel everybody's watching on, but we have a dedicated Cultist YouTube channel that I'm completely relaunching on. So please come over to the dedicated Cultist YouTube channel. I'm having trouble typing because I'm having trouble seeing. My contacts are going crazy. YouTube.com/. channel. So if you are here and you haven't been here in a while and you didn't know there was a dedicated Cultist YouTube channel, please, please, please come over here, subscribe and subscribe to the channel, like the stream over there, because we're completely relaunching the show and trying to get more done with this show in the next 6 months. So if you're here and you didn't know that was going on, please, I just put that in the comments right there. Lots of 7-Elevens in Florida, but was that Washington is making strides? Right. Yes. Right. Oh my God. That sounds like how the satanic panic started with that dog paper. Yes. Well, Spud says a 7-Eleven can be a club if you try hard enough. Yes, it potentially can. Oh, you don't have any teriyaki chips, but I do have teriyaki seaweed. Oh, well, that will probably work as well. Yes. So they go down. This scene was built around when we were doing site scouting. We found this this bird bath, and we were like, we have to add that in as an altar. So we weren't quite finished with the scripts at that point, but when we saw this bird bath, we were like, oh my God, they have to have this as an altar. And so we used this for them to try to summon Cthulhu around. So like I said, Dax created the Yabba Zabba Da, ho ha Yabba Zabba Da, right there. They had to run around this thing several times. The guys were so tired. And then you come out to the witches who kind of know more of what's going on, right? This scene, the language and the verbiage that the witches are going to use later is a biblical reference. I would think that many people here in the chat have caught that, because biblical storytelling is one of those things. Oh, actually, before I get to biblical storytelling, do you know what this is? So we had them do this right here. This is a reference to a Vincent Price horror movie. We were watching, I think it's one of the Vincent Price movies that's actually about the Cthulhu mythos. I forget what its name is at the moment. It might have been about Yog-Sothoth. It was one of the Lovecraftian movies that Vincent Price adapted. And Brianna, it's so hokey. It's so hokey. But Brianna and I were watching it before this season was shot. And there's a scene where they're in a cemetery, and Vincent Price and all the cultists, and like to summon Yog-Sothoth or something like this, start doing this. And so we were like, oh my God, we have to have the cultists do that, because that's such a weird thing. Like, you know, like, all right, let's summon an elder god. Here we go. This motion right here. But it's something that's actually done by Vincent Price in his Lovecraftian movie. It may have been the Dunwich Horror. Hey, let me look that up right now. Did Vincent Price do the Dunwich Horror? Dunwich Horror. Vincent Price. Dunwich Horror. No, Vincent Price. Yes, Dunwich Horror, 1970s. I bet that's it. I'm not for sure. I can't find it, but I bet that's it. It was Vincent Price, Dunwich Horror, and he's doing this number. All the cultists are doing this around the graveyard. So that's why we incorporated that into this. So that's a nod to Vincent Price and his horror story right there. So then so they're doing the ode to Vincent Price. Shout louder. He could be in deep thought, or on the toilet, or on a journey. That is obviously, to many people, Elijah and the prophet of Baal. So Brianna and I took this scene as a biblical reference. This is Elijah and the prophet of Baal. If you read that particular biblical story, when the prophets of Baal are trying to summon Baal, the language, what the witches of Azathoth say right there are exactly what's talked about regarding the prophets of Baal and Elijah. Let's see here. I was a teacher. Geography. Yeah. My PhD is in geography. I was a geography professor. I was a clinical assistant professor of geography. I taught at the University of South Florida and then also at the University of Illinois. So now I'm doing things very different than teaching geography. Wawa is a much better convenience store. Oh, that's right. It's a dance club. Yes, 7-Eleven has a dance club. Maybe we should do that one Halloween or something like that. That should be like a Raven Keep thing. We all like dress up in our best Halloween clothes and then go have a rave at a 7-Eleven. Is this the part where well, I don't think that, that there weren't so many people in the park at this point. The locals didn't really concern about the park in this episode, in this season when we were shooting here at the park. There just weren't people around. Looks like the pineapple coconut chant that my friends and I do. Let's see. Is Acantha wearing a Bo Battens hat from Harry Potter? No, that's not a dedicated Harry Potter hat as far as I know. In fact, actually, when I was at a convenience store just a few hours ago, I saw somebody in a Halloween costume. It was a witch costume wearing Acantha's hat. Now, it was jet black, but I walked in, she was checking out, and I went, I know exactly that hat. It's Acantha's hat, except for it was in black. What? I don't know. What did I say? Ball? Did I say ball or bail? B-A-A-L. I see both. I'm not sure which one I said, but Baal or Baal. So Sable knows Baal. That's a character also in Theophany. So Ball or Baal. Yes. Cultist cosplay at a 7-Eleven. That should be that's something we have to do. We have to take over 7-Eleven. That sounds like fun. I've always heard that the double A is voiced like the double U in vacuum. Oh my God. I'm going to have to think about that. Baal. Vision must be from the East Coast to bring up Wawa. So, yes, so that is the biblical reference of Elijah and the prophets of Baal. They were so tired as they were running around this because it took multiple takes to get everything right as they were going around. And I do like that nothing's happening. And so Rob ever, not one to doubt himself. What do we need? We need more chips. That's it.
At the 7-Eleven.
And then Mike has an idea. So here we go. All right, time to go on. So episode 8, I'm going to turn up the volume on that. I'm going to mute me, and here we go.
You can't just summon Cthulhu out of nowhere. He has to really know you first. He has to know that you're one of his own. Cthulhu didn't appear to us because he doesn't know us. We worship Yog-Sothoth, Dagon, Azathoth. We have to show him that we're a part of his cult.
But how do we do that?
Gentlemen, I have had this book a very long time. Maybe it will help.
What is it?
It is the Encyclopedia Magica. It has a passage on the rituals associated with Cthulhu. Listen. The cultists of Great Cthulhu often worship him through depraved and orgiastic voodoo rituals, performed as an indescribably grotesque mass of naked human abnormality, braying, bellowing, and writhing in the moonlight.
That's what we should do.
We'd get to see each other naked.
Or you could keep your eyes closed.
Imagine worshiping Cthulhu with Sherry.
To do this, we are going to need a greenstone idol of Cthulhu.
Yes, Ben, you may speak.
I can make it. I majored in art for a semester.
Great. Ben, you're on idol duty.
Now we just have to find a place to worship.
I got this. Hey, Mom! Can I have a party tonight?
You want to have a party?
Yeah.
Like a football party?
Yeah. Pigskin. Exactly.
Yes, of course. Whatever you want.
Bingo. Hey. Oh, I missed you too. So we're worshiping Cthulhu tonight. You should come. I mean, if you want to come. When I say come, I mean attend. So you'll be there? Great. What are you doing?
I'm in a cult now.
You wouldn't know the first thing about being in a cult.
Yes, I do. You dress up in fish clothes and say weird words. Yog Socks mom party. Yog Socks is the gay. See? Now I can come to your party.
No. You're not in a cult, and you're not coming to the party. bring it?
Yep.
He's got a knife.
Yes, Cthulhu with a knife.
Ben, Cthulhu does not have a knife.
Why can't he have a knife?
Well, who would make it for him? Cthulhu's like 10 stories tall. His knife would be the size of a streetlight. Change it. Change it. Swear to God. I'm trying to worship here. I got Cthulhu with a knife. Oh my God, what are you wearing?
It's called going undercover, man.
You scared me for a minute there.
Ah!
Sorry.
What is that?
Just something I like to use when I worship.
Well, hi, Dave. How nice of you to join us.
Dude,
I know. The band.
You've not been further compromised by the Yellow King, have you?
No, Cthulhu, no.
We're all here, right?
Almost.
Almost. Who else is coming?
Oh no. You invited her?
Yes. I just pretended like I was praying the rest of the time.
You want to hear Julie joke?
You can't joke
Funny.
about
Everybody laughed,
Cthulhu.
but I was kind of nervous.
Oh,
I couldn't get up.
good?
They all got up. And
Probably heard it before anyway.
And I was like just laying there.
It is an old one.
It looks like
So, do you do a lot of man-lady Cthulhu worship?
I've done plenty in my day.
What about man, lady Cthulhu worship?
Yeah. From time to time.
I've done man, lady Cthulhu worship. Totally done that. Just without the lady.
Dude! Oh, wait. I've done that before. That's just by yourself.
Alright. Remember to do a lot of bellowing, braying, and writhing.
Like this?
No. Like this.
That was very good. Now I'll give you a reason to bellow and ride.
Please don't. No eating.
Okay. It's enough. Let's start the chant, okay?
Time for downward fish, little disciple.
I am so excited that he is partying with his friends. I feel like he has finally turned a corner in his life. What are you wearing?
I'm in a cult now.
Just like in the woods.
Even better.
Thank you, Mama. Stop!
As I was saying, this is good. This is very good. I'm going to surprise him.
No one wants to touch your fish.
Mom!
Whoa, I'm grounded for life now. But worth it.
All right, let's see. That was so fun to shoot. The orgy scene, man, that was so much fun that night. It was shot at night too, but of course it was inside. But it was so much fun. Tom McCratt likes it. So Sable Phoenix always brings our understanding of different pronunciations. So vacuum, the vacuum is, well, I don't know, but Baol. All right, I'm going to remember that. The goldfish crackers, yes, that was so much. Now Megan, my cousin, was the one who did all the costuming, so she came up with the goldfish crackers on his head, on her head rather. Let me turn the volume down here. But yeah, this was also a lot of fun. Now, this book that she reads from, when she talks about it being the Encyclopedia Magica, the Encyclopedia Magica is what I was writing for Journey to the Tree of Sorrows. So if you go over to the Journey to the Tree of Sorrows YouTube channel and you look up the Brand of Cthulhu, you'll actually hear a professionally narrated passage of the Encyclopedia Magica that is what I wrote as the serious aspect of Cthulhu. So the bellowing, braying, writhing, all of that was as if it were a serious part of the Cthulhu mythos for Journey to the Tree of Sorrows. And so I decided to add that, of course, in the Journey to the Tree of Sorrows serious Cthulhu mythos, to go ahead and reference that inside the joke. So she's quoting my own writing as far as what I wrote about the Brand of Cthulhu for the Journey to the Tree of Sorrows, and that was professionally narrated by Ian Gordon, that entry on the Journey to the Tree of Sorrows YouTube channel. If you want to check that out, just look up Brand of Cthulhu. If you look up Brand of Cthulhu, you'll see that on that channel. I don't control that channel anymore, but my writing is still on that channel, and that's referenced here in this show. It's like the Great Pumpkin. Right, exactly, and it's the actual sign language for that. They did that on their own. That was something that Shay and Acantha did for the understanding the understanding football. So, all right, let's see here. Cutest cultist ever, right? Yes. Daniel says, you do have to point out the lack of realism. The little sister didn't say, you have to let me come or else I'll tell mom you're in a cult. Well, she knows that. They get into whether or not she's going to to rat him out later in season 2. And of course, he's talking to Sherry right here. So that implies there's been some back channel communication between him and Sherry ever since the incident, shall we say, in the forest. What esteemed individual, Spud says. I'm so glad you're here, Spud. It's been a while. Yes. So now here we go. This is Rayla says this is my second favorite episode. Yeah, this was great. When I say come, I mean we're worshiping Cthulhu tonight. This is great. So we the Cthulhu with a knife. Okay, so Cthulhu with a knife. He shows up with Cthulhu with a knife, and this was kind of a jab at David, a friend of mine who I was working with Infinite Black, and we were the co-founders of Infinite Black. He was big into the Cthulhu mythos before I got involved. He's the one who got me into the Cthulhu mythos because he wanted to do the Lovecraftian world, and so I got involved in it. But there was some Kickstarter. That was run years ago that basically had Cthulhu mythos miniatures, and one of them was Cthulhu, or like some type of Cthulhu figure. And it was Cthulhu, but he was holding a knife on that miniature. But David really was not down with this Kickstarter because the liberties that it was taking with some of the Cthulhu mythos. And another friend of his was trying to get him to back it. And he was like, look at this. Look at this. You know, this Kickstarter, man, you'll really like it. It's the Cthulhu mythos. It's just what you're like. And David was like, what is that? That's Cthulhu with a knife. And then his friend was like, well, why can't Cthulhu have a knife? And then David was like, Cthulhu's like 10 stories tall. It would be the size of a street lamp or something. So that conversation was had not exactly word for word, but basically that conversation was had between David and a friend of his when they were complaining about some Cthulhu miniature on a Kickstarter having a knife. So I incorporated that particularly in here. And then, of course, he breaks off the knife on the greenstone idol. And the greenstone idol is actually sculpted out of foam, and it is in my cabinet in my kitchen. So you can see it. Yes, I know. So that's why I'm relaunching. On the new YouTube channel. That's why I'm doing it. Because we need more. Man, I think my high school football team and cheerleaders might have been Cthulhu cultists. Well, now that's up to everybody to determine. Are the witches actually from the 17th century, and do they have powers? Do the witches actually have magic powers? Well, that's something you'll have to talk about, I guess. So, are they actually magical? Are they magical? We had so much fun shooting this. We blacked out. It was shot at night, but we still blacked out everything so that it would actually be dark when we turned off the lights. The general hubbub here was so much fun. You can hear things that are ad-libbed when they're off camera that are so much fun. And of course, then we cut to with this lubed up fish that Rob has got. This lubed up fish. There you go. Like, why exactly is Rob's that fish, we lubed him up, lubed that fish up with KY jelly. And for some reason, right before this orgy, Rob's fish gets really moist over there and is kind of weirding out Acantha. But yes, that was one of the touches that we added here. And of course, they were going to get disrupted as they try this orgy here. And it was so much fun to shoot. And of course, Mom's going to interrupt them. Comes in, and we had to be sure that, there was one take when I was seen reflecting in the television camera right there. And we had to strike that cut. Because, of course, he's going up the stairs. And listen to the different things that the cultists you can hear saying upstairs. One of them is, "Nobody wants to touch your fish." That's Rob telling Ben that nobody wants to touch your fish. But yeah, this TV right here, there was one take when I was standing and you could see me reflecting in this TV, so that took it out. I've got all kinds of photos that were taken of that party. Like, we took in-universe photos because obviously we had to take in-universe photos because that's Sherry right there with Mike wrapped up and tied up in bondage with duct tape. But we took all kinds of in-universe pictures of this party that are on my phone someplace. Fondling a moist fish is Dagon worship. Exactly. Yes, that is. All right, I'm going to turn that up. And now we can go into episode 9.
We have to become so devoted to Cthulhu that when we summon him again, he will not be able to help but hear our call. Then we'll be able to run the cultists of the Yellow King out of town. Okay, let's brainstorm. How can we get Cthulhu's attention in a big way? Yes, Ben.
Maybe we just send him a very nice dinner invitation, like with his name on it and everything.
Ben, Cthulhu does not respond to dinner invitations.
Why not? Has anyone ever tried?
Who would mail it to him? Do you have his address in Relier?
He's sleeping. How would he read it?
Well, just write it down anyway.
No, we do not need to write it down.
Please?
Okay. Dinner invitation. What else we got?
Shouting?
We tried that already.
Write it down?
Okay. Shouting.
Foghorn.
Yes. That is louder than shouting.
Blowing the foghorn with a searchlight right over Relier.
Like a Cthulhu bat signal.
But then we'd have to go all the way to the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah,
that's right.
Acantha, is there anything else in that book there?
Let me see. There's this. Those most dedicated to Cthulhu's nihilistic cult will sear the brand of his dragonesque and cephalopodic visage into their flesh. Often in a ceremony on the moonless night of the Lunar New Year, and witnessed by the god's wizard priests who smear themselves with the blood of their sacrificial victims. Of special significance in this ceremony is the chaotic rhythm beaten on drums of human skin by feral drummers, who are wholly given to whatever barbaric and animalistic impulses are buried in the recesses of all human minds.
That's it. That's what we need to do. Burn his brand into our flesh.
No, don't write that.
Don't worry, Ben. You don't have to get branded if you don't want to. If you're not fully devoted, you can be the drum.
Okay, Cantha. Can you read that passage and make sure we have everything?
Those most dedicated to Cthulhu's nihilistic cult
That's me.
will sear the brand of his dragon-esque and cephalopodic visage into their flesh,
Got the brand right here.
often in a ceremony on the moonless night of the Lunar New Year.
My mom won't let me out at night anymore. So we'll just have to be extra dedicated. I'm gonna heat the brand extra hot.
And witnessed by the god's wizard priests, who smear themselves with the blood of their sacrificial victims.
Sacrificial victims.
Where's that Care Bear, Mike?
No Care Bear this time. This time we got a rotisserie chicken.
What about the blood?
We'll cover it in barbecue sauce first.
Oh, yeah. Cthulhu will never notice.
We might get hungry later.
I don't know, guys. This may not work either.
We can't stop now. We're already in far too deep.
Right. Okay. Of special significance in this ceremony is the chaotic rhythm beaten on drums of human skin.
That's you, Ben. Ben?
No.
By feral drummers who are wholly given to whatever barbaric and animalistic impulses are buried in the recesses of all human minds.
Oh, feral drummer. That's me. I love playing the drums. And I'm totally given to animalism. Take off your toga, Ben.
In his house in Relia, dead Cthulhu waits dreaming.
Great Cthulhu. I pledge myself to you.
Cthulhu Fatagan.
All right. So that was the epic episode 9, the penultimate episode right there of the series. Also a fantastic episode that references, again, the Encyclopedia Magica, which I had already written about the branding of Cthulhu. So all of the words that Acantha speaks right there are on the Journey to the Tree of Sorrows YouTube channel for the actual Encyclopedia Magica entry on the brand of Cthulhu. So she references all of that. So they're reenacting the actual ceremony that was done for the Journey to the Tree of Sorrows. Cthulhu, Sable says, Cthulhu does not respond to dinner invitations. Should be one of the quotes like fish do not drink tea. It totally should, yes. Cthulhu does not respond to dinner invitations. Yeah, I know. She is so good. Rachel is so good with that. I love the deadpan delivery. Oh, yeah. Cthulhu will never notice that we're dealing with, yes, not actual blood here. Rayla says, branding and barbecue sauce, a story of how not to summon Cthulhu. And of course, this is in my backyard, and this is the scene that the neighbor came over to talk to me about later. It's like, no, what exactly was going on when we were shooting this scene? Because this is also in my backyard here. They did not like smearing themselves with the barbecue sauce, particularly Peter, but it got done. They got done, and we got the scene shot, and it went well. This one was a fun one to shoot. Let's see. Can we get a link? Oh, yeah. So I can give you a link to that YouTube channel. Hang on. Let me pause this over here. So like I said, I don't run this YouTube channel anymore, but why? Let me come up with this. The window that has that open. Why can't you ever just find what you're looking for? I got too many windows open. Okay, so this one right here. So hang on. YouTube. Journey to the Tree of Sorrows. Nope, typed the wrong thing. Journey to the Tree of Sorrows. It's got 2 of my short stories on there, professionally narrated as well. Journey to the Tree of Sorrows. Right here. So let me take that. Let me put that up right there. So Journey to the Tree of Sorrows. Journey to the Tree of Sorrows. So, like, The Relic of the Mad Poet is one of my short stories. The Chamber of the Yellow King. The Chamber of the Yellow King and The Relic of the Mad Poet are 2 short stories of mine, professionally narrated, 33 minutes and 43 minutes on here. I've got shorter stuff on here as well. Like I said, I don't run this channel anymore. David has taken over this channel because this is David's world. But The Life of Abdul al-Hazred, I got a one here on the Esoteric Order of Dagon, the entry on the Esoteric Order of Dagon. Look, that's 34,000 views. My Chamber of the Yellow King audiobook has 66,000 views. That's pretty cool. So I guess actually people are enjoying this. Relic of the Mad Poet has 28,000. But let's see. If you find the one that you want to reference directly is sorry. The Libra Demoniaca is one of my favorites. The Brand of Cthulhu right here. This one right here, The Brand of Cthulhu, History and Lore. It's only almost 3 minutes. 2 minutes and 52 seconds. The Brand of Cthulhu. That's my very serious approach to The Brand of Cthulhu, where everything that Acantha is saying comes from that particular passage right there. Brent says, branding and barbecue sauce will be the title of my new memoir. I love the metaphors for the ritual components. Hey, John. Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween. So good to see you here. Happy Halloween. All right. So let's go on. Yes. All right. So here we go. I'll put this back on. Turn me off. Turn it up.
In his house in Relie, dead Cthulhu waits dreaming. Great Cthulhu, I pledge myself to you. Cthulhu Fatagan.
Dude. When my time comes, I'm thinking I might just do the temporary tattoo of Cthulhu.
I've never done anything this intense. I feel truly aligned with the Deep Ones in this moment. I know I'll make them proud. Wizardly Priest, Ladies of Azathoth, Dave, begin. Sacrificial victim. Ceremonial dagger. This is rubber. That's all I can get.
Mom won't let me near a real knife anymore.
Whatever. Spell components. Spell components.
Sorry I'm late. A large man was ridiculing me at the 7-Eleven.
What? Why? Never mind Mike. Dedication bit. Dedication. Your mind and your body belong to the cult.
Right.
Do you have the chips?
Yes.
Ritual music. Funglui, Mcgwalnath, Cthulhu Rilye, Waggoth Nuggle Fatagan.
Yeah. Cthulhu Fatagan.
Cthulhu Rilye Fatagan. Cthulhu Rilye Fatagan.
Yeah.
Cthulhu Rilye Fatagan.
Where's Cthulhu? He should be here by now.
If he did just wake up, he's probably just getting a cup of coffee.
What are these? What are these?
It's the chips.
These are the wrong tips! You idiot!
They were on teriyaki, I swear! I didn't think it would matter!
Of course it matters! You can't summon Cthulhu with sour cream and onion! I'm gonna get you!
No. This is all my fault. If it weren't for me, Cthulhu would be here right now. I can't do anything, right?
Perhaps the stars just were not right for Cthulhu.
Ben.
I know what I have to do.
Are you okay?
We didn't sacrifice enough. I didn't sacrifice enough.
What are you gonna do?
I offer myself to great Cthulhu.
Oh, yes, my disciple!
No, you can't.
It's the only way.
Yeah, sure, but sacrificing yourself, doesn't that seem a little extreme?
Music. Music! The flutes of Azathoth.
Ben, that's not a flute. That's just a recorder. You can't sacrifice yourself to recorder music.
Yes, I can. And I will.
It's a rubber knife, Ben.
Yeah. Mom won't let me have a real knife. She thinks we're gonna hurt ourselves.
We're not gonna hurt ourselves.
You just tried to cut your heart out.
That was on purpose, though. I can't even sacrifice myself right.
Maybe that's a good thing.
I don't think I'm cut out to be a cultist.
No. Don't say that. You're a great cultist. More than that. You are an amazing cultist.
Really?
You can always try again tomorrow.
Dude. When you were about to sacrifice yourself, that was real, man.
Yeah. Might have been a fake knife, but it was still the greatest thing you've ever done.
It was pretty great. My proudest moment.
Any cult leader would be proud to have you as their disciple.
Okay.
I have stopped asking him what he does with his cult friends. At this point, I would rather not know. You have to pick your battles. What matters to me is that he does his chores and turns his homework in on time, and lately he has been much better at both, so all things considered, I am pretty happy.
How about a blessing? O great Cthulhu, we thank you for your many blessings upon this house and upon the whole world. We pray that you would lift up our friends and crush our enemies.
And please bless this food and the hands of those who prepared it.
Amen.
Oh, I got more salt.
Oh, thank you, honey. That's good.
I vacuumed it off the floor after my ritual.
Mike.
And that's the Cultist season 1. So much fun. Oh, you like his scream? His scream was great. Yes. Oh, he does hand the knife over blade first. You're right. He does. Well, he was the rubber knife, but he does do that. Yeah, no, the flute's one of my favorite. That was also the hot crossed buns being something that's played on the recorder was also one of the very, very early episode ideas for this entire series. And that one has stayed with it here. Is the Demon Piper of Azathoth. Yes, exactly. Who plays hot cross buns? Of course, yes. That's so perfect. Oh, everybody likes that too. Yes, it's especially that she does it so poorly. We have a scene that comes back with in season 3 that would be so good to shoot if we were able to do a season 3. It would be so great. Hey, if you're here, please do hit the like button. Help us get this done. I have a recorder someplace. You guys need to be on the shoreline. You know, there was a scene in season 2 where it was supposed to be shot at the ocean, but it wasn't. It's actually funnier that it's not shot at the ocean. But we had that here. I love how insane that sounds. Now, see, that's one of the other lines. Yes, that's one of the other great lines. You can't summon Cthulhu with sour cream and onion. That's another great line here from the Cultists. Yes. Rob's enthusiasm. Also, you can't sacrifice. Yes, I know. There's so many great lines with this. Let me turn this down. We had to get Rob in makeup here. This was Mackenzie Henderson who did the makeup here, and I also love that it looks so janky. It's not like it even looks like a fantastic brand. You know, it looks like something that they made themselves as well, which completely adds to all of this as well. But we were really behind this day because we had to shoot here in my backyard. And then get over. Man, did we do this in 2 days? I thought we just had him no, maybe we did do it in 2 days. I remember him in my office here. We were getting Rob in makeup, but it was taking longer, and everybody was waiting out at the park for us to get out there to get him out there because the makeup was taking longer to apply than we were expecting. The temporary tattoo of Cthulhu also comes back. Because I've got some temporary tattoos of Cthulhu, so that does come back as well later on. Let's see, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's a supportive community, and I was like this. You know, the Witches of Azathoth, whatever. Dave, go over there. Dave, you're just Dave. Have to roll out. Yeah, you take care. Good to see you. I'm so glad you're here, Vision. Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween. I like the progressive rise, right, with Mother, right, yes. So if you're watching her, of course, she starts drinking and she just keeps drinking. Oh, this cut, right, this take right here. He's supposed to tear this in half right now. Oh, he's handed over with a knife, right? But then what he's supposed to do is tear apart that rubber squid right here. So according to the script, that's what he's supposed to do. So he goes to tear it open, but he actually can't. I had cut it a little bit so that he could, but he throws it down, it bounces off, then it bounces off again. This was just something that happened organically, and then Acantha goes and puts it back on. Everybody stayed in character. He was supposed to just rip it apart and then put the parts down on the altar, but he couldn't rip it apart, throws it down, bounces off, it bounces again. He stays in character as Rob, being real frustrated, and then Mallory plays Acantha. Mallory just very calmly reached down and put the squid on the altar, and everybody just stayed in character and kept going. That's why it's so important to just stay in character while you're, even if something's going wrong, stay in character until you call cut, because as soon as that was done, everybody just playing, we're like, that's the take, because that had happened. So I was like, what take is that going to be? And I remember Brennan saying, oh, I know exactly what take we're going to be using. The one where he couldn't tear it open and it bounces. That was just a happy accident that works so well with that shot. Thank you, Jason. I'm glad you're here. Steel Mongoose says, I think it's less satanic panic than fear that her son will be living in her house until he's 50. Well, maybe. Brent says, is there anything more sinister song than hot crossed buns being played on the recorder? She does get even more crazy in season 2. Yes, she does. It looks like barbecue sauce. Oh, it does. Oh, it was, he got branded. Because then we have to figure out what to do with this brand on his face going forward into season 2. But in this season, it was just this one day of shooting where he needed to have this brand on. And of course, if that had really happened to him, he would have been in so much pain. Like, it's okay. He would have been in so much pain if he just got branded across the cheek like that. You need to do a commentary voiceover version and post it to the Cultist YouTube channel. I have that, and it's going to be coming out. That's actually something that's going to be over on the new Cultist YouTube channel. Yes. If you're over, let me post the link here, because if you're enjoying this and you're not subscribed to the new Cultist YouTube channel, I'm going to post that again. The Cultists YouTube channel. Please come over there, because there is both director and producer's commentary that's going to be coming out on the Cultist channel over there. And also, if you're subscribed over there, let people know about this, share the Cultists, like its videos and things like that. Because if we can get enough traction, then we might be able to do season 3 and wrap up our story. And that would be so fantastic. So please do come over to the Cultist YouTube channel if you're watching on another stream on either Table Talk or on Heath's Geekverse. Being over here on the Cultist, and it's got the first 3 episodes are uploaded right now, but more stuff's coming out, including director's commentary from Brianna and my commentary. Absolutely. Rayla says, can we do a rewatch season 2 together too? I think you did it so before, but I missed out because of work. Yes, we'll do it. We won't do it tonight. We're closing in on 3 hours here, so we won't do it tonight, but we will do a rewatch of season 2 sometime. So stay tuned to the Cultist YouTube channel, and we'll do a rewatch of season 2. We will definitely do that. I'm simultaneously streaming to the different channels that I'm running. I've been dividing my channels based on brand. So if you follow one, but if you're with us and you're part of the Geekverse and you enjoy this stuff, follow the different channels, because I'm simultaneously streaming. And then also, actually, I should post the Discord server link one more time as well, because the Discord server is where it all goes. So if you're on the Discord server, you're going to know what's going on. We're going to do some work with the Discord server as well very soon, but because they're cleaning out some of the different channels that are on it. But the Discord server for Ravenkeep is also a great place to be. So please be there. Yes, John, the altar is a bird bath. Yes. And like I said, we hadn't finished the scripts when Brianna and I were doing site scouting, and we found the bird bath. We were like, oh my God, that has to be our altar. That's exactly what it was. Let's see. No, well, I can pull up both chats. That's a shock and a hospital trip at minimum. Oh yeah. If the actual branding is what you're talking about. Yeah. the branding. Yeah. I mean, what's going on? And that comes up in season 2. That's a point in season 2 here as well. Right, exactly. Tomocrat says, I love the different levels of devotion they all have, from the hardcore to the occasional cultist. Hey, Keith. Keith Crow says, howdy, just caught the tail end of the show. We were having lots of fun on Halloween. Well, I'm glad. If you're out having fun on Halloween, then that's definitely the thing to do. We're here having fun for all of those who need to hang out online and have some fun. I wanted to be sure that I was streaming Tuesday night because Brianna's having a party. Doug is also out with his kids tonight. So I was like, I'm going to do table talk by myself for all of those who might be not out having Halloween parties. We're having fun here, and man, I've really enjoyed this. So 3 hours. This is the earliest table talk is into the past in like 8 months. Yeah, I know it is. It completely is. So I have to get on the Discord server stuff. I need to communicate to you about this. I want to invite more people to the Discord server, probably in about 3 days, which means we need to do some Discord server updates. So the next day, 2 days, something like that, I'll be talking to you and Stray about that. John says, I think the bird bath is the perfect high school backyard Cthulhu worship altar. Nice touch. Exactly. This scene was actually also very early on, one of the very earliest scenes that I wrote. I knew that somebody was going to try to sacrifice themselves, but they had a rubber knife, and so it didn't work, and they're going to be very upset about that. And originally, as I had this written, it was Mike. It was Mike who tries to sacrifice himself, but as the character of Ben had developed, it just became completely natural for this to be Ben and the conclusion of Ben's arc. But that whole idea of this sacrifice was one of the earliest things that was ever written for this show. Like even an early idea that was penned down and put in the notebook for this show to become this. Okay, yeah, tomorrow. And NaNoWriMo starts tomorrow. We'll be doing NaNoWriMo. If you're writing stuff, there is a channel in the Ravenkeep Discord server for NaNoWriMo. So you can join us there. And of course, on the Morning Grind on the Heath's Geekverse channel, Heath's Geekverse, we will be following up. We talk every morning at 9:30 a.m. And one of the things we'll be doing for the next month is trying to be supportive of each other as we go through and try to get our 50,000 words for NaNoWriMo. So a lot of that kind of stuff going on. Man, like I said, creating this show was one of my favorite experiences of my life. I loved it. And man, we could really bring it with season 3. We could really bring it with season 3, but we need more people. So please do subscribe to the Cultists YouTube channel, the new Cultists YouTube channel. Share it. If you know people who would enjoy it, please tell them about it, man. And then we'll see if we can actually get some more attention on the show. So there's a lot going on. In fact, I've also wondered if this show should also be written as a movie. Could it be rewritten as a movie script? Probably could be. We got 15 people watching across the different channels. So please do like this stream. That will help us get the stream out to more people and get the Cultists out to more people. So please, if you are here on whichever channel you're on, please do come over to the Cultists YouTube channel, but also wherever you are, please do like the stream. I will make the stream private on Heath's Geekverse probably tomorrow morning. And so the permanent home will be on Table Talk and the Cultist YouTube channel. Have a wonderful night. Exactly. Have a wonderful night, everybody. I've got to get to bed because I got to get up early and do NaNoWriMo in the morning. So I will see everybody at 9:30 a.m. Central on the Heath's Geekverse YouTube channel for the Morning Grind. We'll be talking about, we'll be continuing our analysis of Story and the Writers Club books on how to write well. So if you're doing NaNoWriMo, this is an excellent series of stories to be getting in on. So, all right. Thank you. Thank you, James. Thank you. Good night, Robert. Take care, everybody. Happy Halloween. I have loved spending Halloween night with you guys. Thank you so much. It's been fantastic. See you in the morning.